and also record. And I think we're live.
Hey.
That would be nice. Thank you. We got me 2 bottles of water. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Calling It Now. That was dramatic.
That's the intro.
No. We actually don't have an intro yet, and we're working on that. By the way, if you have interested, we're still gathering proposals. We'll go out, but I will say I'm a bit seduced by this idea from the last show where the video will usually be, I don't know, the video we might make a consistent thing, but the audio might be people just randomly riffing something like, "Hey there, welcome to Calling It Now. It's the show that people call in now, and that's the show." Stuff like that.
Can we clip that? Can we just put that?
That's like the 9th one. That's like the 9th one so far, because that's how we've been introing so far. It's like, welcome to Calling It Now. I'm Jimmy Snow. This is Forrest, Valkai, and we're taking calls. Hi, everybody.
What a show. What a program.
My live chat doesn't work. I gotta refresh some stuff, and we're
super prepared and ready for today. We are professionals. This is our actual job, and we're here to bring this talent to your screens to improve your lives and enrich your YouTube experience.
You're welcome.
Our presence and professionalism.
You're welcome. This show is a little bit different than the shows you might have seen on the line. We begin with a claim that is on the screen right now twice, because the name banner will go over the light gray one as we take calls. But today's claim is Christian nationalism and MAGA destroy us, or the U.S. if you like, or America also if you like. You can do it. You can take it however you like. And I think in the future, we're going to be working on like a menu of alternative things that you can call in to debate on, where we'll just put up on the screen, like, we'll also take on any of the following. And anyone who thinks they can challenge us or defend the opposing proposition that, in fact, these things are not destroying America, you will be welcome to do so as well. We would love to hear from you. Our phone number sometimes takes a minute as this gets into people's shorts feed and everything to start getting y'all in. But our phone number, very easy to remember. It's 1-33654-32101. That one could use a jingle also, don't you think?
It definitely could. It definitely could.
Call 33654-32101. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with the thumbnail. So people have been getting a bug where they see the thumbnail from the show with Owen and I. And I know, like, we reuse settings for the stream key and stuff, some of the basic things, because that's a built-in function of YouTube. When you make a stream, you can be like, hey, here's a past stream. Also, 1 second.
This is the show.
Well,
this is the show.
I can hear the fan too much, so I'm asking my partner to move it. We don't even really need it.
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, behind me. It's too much cowbell. I don't know if she hears me. Her door's closed. I'll text her. I could use the Discord. Would you just close the door? Thanks so much. All right. That's what the show is. 33654-32101. And you'll have just met us, and this will be crazy, but there's our number. So call us maybe and tell us if you disagree that MAGA and Christian nationalism are destroying the U.S., destroying America. What other topics would you think of taking? Let me start a little little menu.
I'd be real pedantic and say that Christian MAGA is destroying America. Christian nationalism is a lot of what America has always been, and that sucks. Mm-hmm. I would be pedantic about that, but there's no really need to. As far as like calls that I want to take, I would love to talk to creationists. I love, as someone who talks about evolution for a living, it's always fun to talk to somebody who wants to tell me that the thing that I've been studying in school for the past, almost 15 years now isn't real. That's a lot of fun for me. Also, gender concerns. I've always have a special place in my heart for people who say that sex and gender are synonymous and binary, and then like to pretend that the transphobic arguments they make are not literally word for word the exact same arguments made by any other conspiracy theory, anti-vax, flat earth chemtrails, you name it. It's all the same, and the talking points are all the same, and the conclusions are all the same, and the stupid, anti-science rhetoric is all the same. So just those are things that I would be down to talk about today. But I'm just here for the ride. This is my first time doing this particular program with you, my friend, and so I'm down for whatevs.
I'm making a because as we grow old, we remember. As we go, I may start creating that graphic for the menu. The debate menu of alternatives that people can call in with. But right now, we are interested. By the way, I added your ability to see this show on Call-In Studio, so you should see it now.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. But right now, we have completely open lines for anybody who would like to call in and debate or discuss these debate points. We very limited on the people who are more on our side. However, if there's an argument that somebody's making with you that you would like to be better armed for, you can also call. And during the interim of waiting for those calls to come in,
we have 60 voicemails.
Is that it? Says voice. We have 60 voicemails. It says
on the main line show. It says here we have 60 voicemails, and then I've got this show here next to it that looks like all the other ones.
That's interesting. Do you think we should check if those voicemails are? Yeah, you can leave a voicemail. By the way, if you're watching this later, you can leave a voicemail. We'll probably make fun of you on air if you do. But man, unfortunately, I don't.
Later on, I got an email this week from somebody telling me that they were really upset about the fact that I described what was happening in Palestine as a genocide, and that I don't understand the historical context, and the fact that Jews are so much smarter and better than Arabs in every way, and all this just really disgusting shit, while praising how they love all my content. And I'm like, hey, you clearly haven't been paying very good attention if you think that you can compare these civilizations and then decide that this one, this one is deserving of genocide and this one, is deserving to commit it. And I will be reading that email aloud on probably the Sunday show after dark with Eric this Sunday. I already texted him, made sure he was cool with doing so. And that idiot should call in and defend his bullshit, because I would love to have such an ardent fan tell me all about why it makes sense to tell me how many Nobel Prizes Palestinians haven't won, and therefore I shouldn't criticize the genocide in Gaza.
Oh, I didn't know about the Nobel Prize thing. That's...
Oh, yeah.
How do we come back? How do we come back from that?
Unbelievably gross.
So his position is that because Palestinians haven't won Nobel Prizes, they aren't.
Oh, I can read it to you.
Yeah. Give me a taste. We've got a call screening that I'm looking forward to, but
dear Forrest, I've recently come across several of your appearances in various atheist and theist YouTube calls and have greatly enjoyed them. Matt is undoubtedly exceptional, but you and the rest of the team are doing a fantastic job as well. First of all, fuck you. As an atheist myself, I primarily watch these shows for entertainment, blah, 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 blah. However, in one of your recent calls, you shifted the topic to the discussion of the, quote, Israel-Palestinian genocide. Don't think I've ever described it in those terms, but whatever, which I found deeply concerning for several reasons. The conflict is one of the most complex, century-spanning disputes in history. Both sides have extensive, historically valid claims. It takes significant time and study to understand the depth and nuance of the situation. Please, tell me the exact context that warrants starving people to death. I would love to know how, contextually, it is a good idea to bomb refugee centers and hospitals. In this discussion, you seem to take a subjective stance, departing from your usual commitment to reason, data, and logic on a manner where your understanding appears limited. And then he goes on to claim that the population of Gaza has risen since 1967, which means this cannot be a genocide. That's not what the word genocide means. In that same paragraph, he mentions the term genocide has a precise definition, never gives that definition, and then goes on to explain how he doesn't understand the definition several times. This percent of Israel's population are Arabs and enjoy full equal rights. The demographic is...
Yeah, that's not true. Why don't we let that be a tease? Finish your point. Let the rest be a tease for Sunday, because we do have a call ready for us that I'm like champing a bit.
he then goes on to say that the Arab demographic is growing faster than the Jewish demographic, which is Nazi talk, and then also says that the Holocaust happened and the Jews were displaced. Therefore, it makes sense that they should get to do all the, just again, conflating Judaism with being an Israeli government official, and just really anti-Semitic gross shit. So can't wait to read that full email and to just destroy every part of it on the Sunday show After Dark. And everybody should tune in to listen to that gross shit and learn a thing or two. And that fucking idiot should call in and tell me the specific historical context that makes it a good idea to kill children with snipers and shoot journalists and medical workers and bomb hospitals and churches and mosques. That would be a great opportunity for you to showcase your belief system. I'd love to hear it. It's
going to be great. All right. We're going to go ahead and jump in. Freddy in Nebraska. Well, hey. You are on the line with Forrest and Jimmy. How are you, Freddy?
Yeah, hey, how's it going? I'm fine.
Just fine. All right, Freddy, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, and we'll get to our questioning, points, and co-points. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, that's a lot, but I'm just here to... my point is, I'm Freddy. I am a pro-MAGA gay man, and I'm a theist. Just whatever God you want to argue. I'm a Christian, but I'm just a theist in general. And I guess prove me wrong on that, because you said some bad things about people like me. So,
prove you wrong on which claim would you like to begin?
Let's start with that I'm gay.
Well, I believe you.
I don't disparage whether or not you're gay.
Are you asking me to prove you're not gay?
No, I'm just saying that you're okay with that, right?
Why? Yeah, of course I'm okay with you being gay.
Why would I care? I think it's weird that you're still a MAGA Republican if you're gay, considering...
Freddie.
Sorry, go ahead. What?
Freddie goes, that's 1 point from me. Okay, prove I don't have brown hair, Freddie.
I can see your camera, so I proved you wrong. Another point for me.
No, you haven't. You haven't proven anything. Are you calling it as an actual troll? I said, prove I don't have brown hair.
Do you have a camera on you?
I do.
Can I see it?
Yes.
All right, well, there's the proof.
So I do have brown hair. Well, that's a point for me.
No, it's not a point, because I said that you do.
No, I said prove I don't have brown hair.
Okay, let's move on.
Freddie, okay. I'm going to advise you to drop a point for me, because you're saying a point for you as though you've won something. I don't care that you're gay. I think it's weird that you are pro-MAGA as a gay man, but I don't care that you are gay. I'm bisexual. Why would I give a shit that you're gay?
Okay, the next point. MAGA. Go.
Okay, MAGA.
Go what?
MAGA isn't a point.
That you're MAGA.
Right. What? You haven't presented a point to actually go back again. So, all right. Would you like me to present you something, and then you can try and debate that point?
Yeah. As a gay MAGA theist, why should I not be? Go.
As a gay MAGA theist, why should you not be a theist or MAGA or gay? Because again, I don't mind you being gay.
Okay, you don't have to keep saying that. It's kind of getting suspect. But let's just start with one, and then I'll defend myself, I guess.
Which one? You pick. You're the caller. Do you want to talk about why it's silly to be MAGA? Okay. Well, so
great.
To talk about why it's silly to be MAGA, is that where we're going?
Yeah, and gay.
Sure. Okay.
Sure.
Great.
Do you want to start, or do you want me to start? Like, what do you want to do?
I don't know. Well, it's also Freddie. What would you say as a gay man? As a gay man, what attracts you to the MAGA movement?
Can you condense that?
No, it's it's an extremely straightforward question. Okay,
one more time then, so I can think.
As a gay man, what attracts you to the MAGA movement?
Okay. One, I love strong men. And that's a very important part of the MAGA movement, because we need strong men to be strong leaders. So that's, as a gay man, that's what I'm attracted to.
Strong men like Donald Trump?
Wait. I want to make sure specific before we even get there. I want to go So to be clear, you don't believe a woman can be a strong leader.
Okay, well, let's define strength, because like physically, he's probably stronger than all of us, right?
Donald Trump? No.
Yes.
No, I could be Donald Trump at any physical activity, and I'm not even jacked.
I can see you right now, and I would debate bench press.
Okay, how much can he bench press?
Well, he's 6'3" and he's 215 pounds.
First of all, he's not 6'3". He literally looks down. He has to look up at people who are 6'2", so that's already a lie. I'm getting troll vibes that this isn't a real call.
That's not a lie.
I'm getting troll vibes that... Freddie, are you for real, or are you calling him pretending to be a gay MAGA theist? Because it's almost like a caricature. Are you for real?
Okay, well, if you're not going to take me seriously, we can just stop it here. But
I'm asking you, should I take you seriously? Because it does sound...
points on a few things, and you're like trying to debate if I'm really...
Freddie, I feel that your unwillingness to answer the question might be giving it away. Should I take you seriously?
Yes, you should.
You think you believe you're here presenting yourself with an honest, actual argument, and that you think Donald Trump... So as far as being a leader goes... Donald Trump is most athletic when he is cheating at golf. I'm a woodworker. So I feel that him cheating at golf is well documented. It's not even up for contention. You are welcome to fact check it with any system you like besides his Truth Social feed. Sorry, what's that?
I said you dodged the bench press thing, and now you're going cheating at golf.
I don't actually go to the gym because I am a woodworker, and as many woodworkers don't do. So I don't actually know what I can bench, but I know I'm a capable woodworker. I know I can lift multiple 3/4
anything athletic.
I know I can lift 2 3/4 inch thick pieces of Baltic birch plywood 4 foot by 8 foot at the same time.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, no shit. And I don't know what weights I can lift.
He's 6 foot. Let's say he's 6 foot and 245.
Wait.
Can bench press at least that times 1/8.
No.
Why?
Where are you coming up with that? He is a morbidly obese man who has already proven himself a liar about his own health stuff. So the idea that his weight equals how much he can bench, I used a year ago. I was, what did I get up to? Almost 280 pounds. I can bench more than I could. I can lift more now than I could at 280. And now I'm under 200.
That didn't work out.
I didn't say I was working. I can lift more. Freddie, here's the crazy thing and I'm going to reveal an insane a concept to you. Freddie, one can lift things that aren't weights. Did you know that?
I know. That's what I'm saying about Trump.
And I can lift more than I could lift a year ago.
Doubt it.
Okay, well, I don't care. I don't care whether you doubt it, because you're here making dumb claims that you also can't prove. Sir, you're the one who's left the topic. You're not this guy's not real.
It's so bizarre, Freddie, that like we're seriously sitting here talking about whether or not Jimmy can theoretically outbench an 80-something-year-old man who can't even stand up straight. I can tell you I'm stronger than Trump because I can lift a book all the way up to my face and read it, which is something that he's never done. But like beyond that, the point remains that you're talking about strong men, and that needs to be so important. Trump is a weak person's idea of a strong man. Trump is just all he offers in terms of actual strength, that you're talking about theoretical strength, physical strength, whatever, is he's really, really good at talking himself up and telling everybody how strong he is. That's what he does all the time. He lies all the time. He fails all the time. And the main question that you were saying is, as a gay man, why should I not support the Well, because it also, his whole movement is staunchly anti-LGBT. And so, like, you're looking at this guy who claims he's very strong. You are saying, we need a very strong person, so it must be this. You're discounting any women or any other person who can show strength in real ways, which isn't just bench pressing. You'll be shocked to know being able to bench press a bunch of weight isn't what makes you a good leader. It's actually, moral strength, strength of character, strength of mind, strength of attitude, strength in determination. There's lots of other kinds of strength that Donald Trump also fails miserably at. Whether or not we actually want to get him into a gym for any reason, he fails miserably in terms of moral strength and strength of character and all the other kinds of strength that actually matter for leaders. And he especially fails your community and other marginalized communities around the country, because at the end of the day, he's backed by the same hegemony of fucking cis-focused, heteronormative, white supremacist assholes that backs the rest of the fucking MAGA movement at this point. So I think it's so fucking weird that you're going to waste your time and hours sitting here arguing whether a stranger on the internet may or may not be able to pick up a heavy thing better than your God King Trump, when at the end of the day, it is undeniable that you're voting against your own best interest, and it doesn't sound like you have anything really legitimate to say in defense of your own position, or even to define your own position.
I mean, they're not his positions is the main reason.
No, of course not. But I just want to be very clear, because this is one of those things we get on these shows all the time with pose laws, where it's really difficult to tell if a single caller is a troll or not. But at the end of the day, the shit that Freddy is claiming to believe here is not any much different than the shit that I usually hear from actual MAGA anyway. So does it matter? Really? I don't think it does.
Can't even pronounce it right. MAGA.
Well done.
Am I even on the line? Do I get a
we hear you.
Or are you coming off?
We hear you.
Yeah, unfortunately, we still hear you.
Well,
Hey, Freddy, how old are you?
40 minutes there.
How old are you?
41.
You're 41?
Yeah.
Is Freddy your real name?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, Frederick.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, my friends call me Freddy, and maybe if you guys kind of talk to me like that, and you just spoke for me, and you don't take me seriously, and I wonder if it has to do with who I am and how I orientate. If you know what I'm saying? And my age,
I don't take you seriously because you have behaved.
I don't think you want to hear from someone like me, and I think that's fine. And
Freddy,
you spoke your piece.
Freddy, just to be clear, I never called you a troll. I said it's difficult to distinguish you from a troll. But to be very clear, I don't take you seriously because your behavior on this call has been silly as all hell. We neither of us care that you're gay. I really can't stress enough that Jimmy and I genuinely could not give less of a shit who you want to fuck. It really genuinely doesn't matter to us. That's what makes us better than MAGA, by the way, because MAGA is deeply, intimately concerned about where you want to fuck.
It's funny, if you were trying to be sensationalist too, as you are, on top of pretending to be gay, I would have thought you would have called him pretending to be atheist.
That would have been fun.
Even less. It makes less sense to be a atheist gay MAGA than it makes sense to be a theist gay MAGA.
If you're a theist and MAGA, that would actually make sense, because then you already have the kind of dislocation of you're able to compartmentalize that part of your brain and work outside of what's around you. And then you can be like, okay, yeah, so now also the MAGA movement also makes sense, because this guy who weakened protections for LGBTQ people, has banned trans people from the military, has consistently just and also aligns himself with staunch anti-LGBT people who specifically speak out against same-sex marriage. Like, this asshole really represents my best interest because he's so strong. Like that, you could then paint that picture, but it would have been funnier if you were an atheist.
Yeah. I was gonna ask him if it's embarrassing to be, because I did a little checking in the background to see if my troll meter should be going off. If it's embarrassing to be 41 and still on your parents' cell phone plan, but maybe not. I also don't look, that caller, whatever the whining was there at the end. I was looking forward to hearing. What their deal was, what the number one policy they would say. Anyway, we've got another call screening, but we may or may not take that one depending on the topic matter. We want to talk to people who want to actually in good faith defend and not call in with something so ridiculous even Grok would say you are stupid. Actually, I'll tell you what, I started following a new subreddit that I'm really enjoying.
Versus MAGA?
Yeah, you've seen it?
Yeah, I watched their videos on TikTok as well. They're great.
I didn't know that was a thing, but I don't
Yeah.
really do the TikToks. Yeah, r/Grok versus MAGA is really funny because despite their best efforts, Grok still can only reference like, and they've definitely tried to get rid of leftist and liberal whatever. And hang on a second, I gotta send a message to the screener here, but yeah, it's really good. They'll keep trying to make their points and ask Grok to like fact check them, and Grok will be like, "No, you're pretty wrong though. You're not."
And then they're like,
so
"You're just
hot
liberal. You got a strong
doing so
liberal
hot."
bias, Grok." And I love it because every single time Grok is like, "Here are my sources. If you have a different source, I would love to hear it." And they're like, "Your source is the UN, which is a liberal organization. And your source is the World Health Organization. Those are liberals." And it's like, okay, do you have another source? Do you have something that I should review? And it's like, no, you're just not, you shouldn't be liberal, Grok. And it's like, it's just the same kind of thinking that you would expect from somebody who binge watches Newsmax. It's rough. It's real rough.
Real rough. I'm communicating with the screener here because we've got somebody in the thing who I don't know if they know what they're wanting to call about. Our phone number is
I saw the auto screen. It's weird.
33654-32101, and clearly isn't familiar enough with the channel to know that calling to dog on people who work at the line, I'm probably the worst person to call and try that shit with. So, you know.
The line should fire Jimmy Snow.
Well, there is no other option. That's fucking hilarious. The excuses. Uh, 3365431. Oh man, I messed it up. That'll be the time all the people are gonna call. 33654-32101. Let's take a look at the poll we put in chat. I think I got it up there. 11% of the people in chat right now calling to say that they are in fact MAGA. MAGAs, there are 11% of this. That's high. That's a higher proportion than we're used to seeing, and we definitely want to talk to you. So yeah, I would love to. I'd love to hear from those people. 33654-32101. Go ahead, and it looks like sometimes people call and then they hang up. Call back, people. What's going on? I want to hear y'all actually defend your position. We'd love to see what defense there is. Couple other things you can call in if you are wanting to debate. So far, we've got on the menu for you. If you'd like, MAGA is destroying America. By the way, as far as your thing about, you would say MAGA versus, that's one of the titles we use. We just try to switch them to make them look a little different each day. I think Sunday usually we basically MAGA is destroying America, I think is what we do on
like
Sundays.
the title that you used with Arden a bit ago. The MAGA's obsession with trans people is creepy and unscientific. That's the call that I want to take.
Sure, and we would take that call. We're not going to put that title up on we do try to avoid, if a person brings it up or they want to debate that, we would, but generally if I'm putting in a title thing, you know, I'm also not going to be like women's issues and not invite a woman on to do that one. You know what I mean? We'll have women, we'll talk about them with them, not about them without them, kind of thing.
Why you gave that to Arden? What the hell does she know about trans people? Shame on you for excluding.
I know, but it is true. Trans obsession by MAGA is fucking creepy. It's not just unscientific. It is creepy.
It's legitimately weird. And that's what I was trying to get across to Freddy at the end there. Is like, he keeps bringing up, like, I think you don't take me seriously because I'm gay. And it's like, yeah, obvious rage bait. I get it. But like, honestly, genuinely, for the people who do think that way, is like, you will not find anybody who gives less of a damn about you being gay than somebody who isn't a fucking MAGA cultist. They care so much. They care so much about you being gay. They think about it constantly. It's their favorite thing to do. Their obsession with other people's genitals is awe-inspiring, genuinely. And you're gonna call here and want to talk about, okay, let's get into it. I would love to. It's just so fucking strange that you expect other people to care about your dick as much as you and Donald Trump do. I don't get
it. Dry dick. So, Cryptic Peptide
So
wrote,
dry.
if you guys love us, you will also do a simultaneous horizontal streams, butt wipes. Cryptic, I do love you. First of all, we're not doing that. We're doing vertical streams, and then we will put clips up of the good calls in horizontal. The system is now down to where most of the good calls should be able to go out in horizontal easily and on a short time span. So then you don't have to watch the rest of the show anyway. But there is something a little bit, and you paid $5. If I just read that out, I might have been a little meaner to you, but you paid $5, so I won't. We literally do 6 horizontal shows a week for you. 7, if you count like this week, because we've got an extra hostility. So I'm just saying, maybe it's a little, and I think you were joking, but maybe be a little manipulative to suggest you don't love me if all these other times that you're doing exactly that, but the one time it's not about my preference means you don't love me. I'm just saying, don't you get a lot of horizontal out of us? There's a reason why we're doing vertical over here, and there's reasons why we don't do the simultaneous. But we will. Cryptic, you're great. Adore you to pieces. But we are going to stick with verticals over here at the moment. Horizontals may come, and you might not like that either, because horizontals might end up coming in a different form. Say like, we'll stream horizontally to Twitch, but vertically to YouTube. It could be something like that.
Horizontal those whores all day long for you, because that's what we're here for.
That's our jam. Pump it up, pump it. Thomas in the Pacific Northwest.
Hey,
go ahead,
Awesome,
Thomas. You are on the line with Jimmy and Forrest.
Yes. So yeah, I just saw the tagline there, and I find it so completely ridiculous. Okay, if America is a country that was founded on, unironically, Christian nationalism,
it wasn't
against the Presbyterian Church and Church of England, sure. But if this was a foundation here, how is it necessarily going to destroy us by going back to what it was?
Because it wasn't built on Christian nationalism first, and because what it has also become since then is still defined by a constitution that MAGA doesn't seek to change, which would be American. The Constitution is changeable. MAGA has sought to subvert it at every possible, even Donald Trump in his recent quote being asked, will you honor the Constitution? And him saying he's having the lawyers look at that. He doesn't know if he has
he said
to.
he doesn't know, yeah.
So bypassing the Constitution and the fact that we absolutely were not built on Christian principles, and that's only coming from the founding fathers themselves, like when negotiating treaties and getting asked to be involved in certain wars, mentioning that because we are not a Christian nation, we have no religious theological bend to our nation.
Which specific founding fathers said that we weren't a Christian nation?
I think it was John Adams. Was that Tripoli?
I wasn't saying.
It was a treaty. It was a Treaty of Tripoli, and I believe it was John Adams, and it explicitly says the United States is in no way founded or built upon the Christian nation. Now, upon the Christian religion. Now, that said, our founding fathers clearly were not outwardly actively trying to be Christian, except for, I guess, George Washington. But like at the end of the day,
the author of the Constitution was very against this church and state being merged. Thomas Jefferson's why we have separation.
Well, I mean, there is a distinction here, right? Because
I want to be clear.
The Constitution and everything there was very distinctly saying a separation of church and state. Now, whether we take that in as a church shall never be infringed by the state, or we take that as the state shall never be infringed by the church, that's a little
take
bit
your pick. How about it's both?
Yeah, it seems to me that it's pretty clearly the latter, but like the end of the day, if you pick either one, it does very close to the same point. I think what you're driving at,
but you have
I think what you're driving at,
writers of the.
I think what you're driving at, and what I would agree with, is that America has largely behaved as a Christian nationalist nation a lot of the time, like after that.
I wouldn't go with nationalist. Christian nation, sure. Nationalist, no. We absolutely have been an open borders immigration country for much of our history.
Since the beginning? What are you talking about?
I said for much of our history.
Clearly in multiple.
Excuse me.
No, most of the
Ellis Island. The Ellis Island immigration was absolutely an open borders immigration policy. You came in. They asked what your name was. They were like, "What's your deal?" Stamped and on your way in.
It says that they should be white Anglo-Saxons originally. That blacks weren't even considered citizens. Like,
Yes,
this
and
is
that
where
and that was a part of
this
the
is
cognitive
where the
dissonance of
country
the
was.
early America, where they actually made a constitution that they then themselves lived against, because clearly they didn't think all men were created equally, despite writing the actual words in. And so, luckily, they built the Constitution with a system that's supposed to conference every 20 years that we don't, to update with the times, and we should be doing that. And we should be updating it and changing it and amending it, and we should be operating by democracy. But clearly we are in an anti-democracy phase where right now you buy your elections and you pick your voters. The voters are not picking the leaders.
When do you think that phase started?
Oh,
That's a good question here.
I don't know if it's, as far as the phase goes, it may have always been there, but right now it's more intense than it's ever been. Not ever
Would
been.
you say that it
Early
didn't
America was...
necessarily-
Early America only being white male landowner kind of things. That's actually worse. And if we went back to that, that would be worse than what we have now.
Yeah.
But now
We
is as
also
bad
have
as
tradition
now is as
something
bad
like
as
that.
you can
If
do
you-
it
if
and
you were to
pretend to
take
be a
it away and
democracy.
say, if you let's say that we go with the more liberal perspective on this, right? And we say, okay, just straight up landowners are only allowed to vote, which could be male, female, black.
How would
white,
that be the
Asian,
more
whatever,
liberal? How would
right?
that be the more liberal position?
Well, because there's a lot of people on the right who are saying, no, we should go straight up back to like full on only white people who own property should vote, right? And I'm not saying that.
Wait. You said,
sorry.
you've now said two separate things. You said, let's go with the more liberal position. Only white people, landowners should vote. And I asked, how is that the liberal position? And you said many people on the right think that way.
Of that perspective, which is, okay, expanding it from white men only to just landowners, which could be anyone who owns land. Like if you go back to Roman society, you had
and you're in favor of that? Wait. Before you give your examples, you're in favor of only landowners should have a vote?
Well, I'll get to that, right?
No. You won't get to that. You'll answer the question now because it's not relevant, whatever point you're going to make. If you don't favor that and we don't favor that, why would we sit here and listen to a lecture on it if neither of us are going to defend that point?
I'm saying it's a potential favor of mine, right? Because you would.
Okay, well, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely stupid and ridiculous, and I hope that it would be a violent revolution if somebody actually was getting that into effect, because that would be the height of no taxation without representation. Unless you're also saying you shouldn't be taxed unless you're a landowner.
Why would it? Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, hold on.
So only landowners should be taxed.
The minutia of that.
Only landowners should be taxed.
Later on. There was no taxation.
That's not exactly the minutia, is it? That's not exactly the minutia, is it? And so without taxation,
the point I'm trying to make here is,
if you're not a landowner,
to the Roman society in Egypt,
why are we
women
Romans
allowed to own property, right? But they had already been owning properties for hundreds of years. So they got around this when the Romans took over power by buying a slave. I know I don't agree with slavery, right? But this is just what they did. They bought slaves that would then own the property and sign contracts and do all the busy work for them, while they were the ones who were actually in charge here. Right.
So basically, you may advocate for a future where only rich people, and while brown people will be welcome, the systemic issues that started early in our country that haven't been accounted for will still mean that it will be an extreme minority of the people who will vote and have power. You'd like to get rid of the vote from most people on the basis of whether or not they are rich or not, and go toward a sort of nepotism only power system. Why not just go full monarchy at that point? Or is that what you're in favor of?
Well, I don't think America's ready for that. And not only that, I don't think America is going to not even be willing. They totally would be willing.
Are you MAGA? Are you conservative? Or are you a fascist?
I'm a Christian, sir.
Are you a fascist?
I'm a Christian.
I didn't ask whether you're a Christian. Are you a fascist?
Okay. I would say, what would you consider Saint Justinian? One of the last great emperors.
I don't care. I want to know whether or not you're a fascist.
Well, no, I'm asking that because that's who I would say I align most with. People can take him left, people can take him right, people can say he was the first kind of like proto-Marxist leader, actually.
Okay.
And people can take him, well, he's too authoritarian.
Great. Are you a fascist, though?
You can't just break it down. Well, no, they're against the church.
Ultimately, would you believe in being... No.
They were ahead of the church.
Oh, so you might be for a church-based... You're not that fucking douchebag from the... you're not the guy who sat down with Mehdi Hassan, right? And you were like, well, yeah, I am a Nazi. Or are you that guy, or are you just aligned with that guy?
Oh, no. Pine Sap? No, fuck that guy. I
don't know who that is.
Excuse my language. He is...
To the left of you? He's a what guy?
Pine Sap. That's the guy's name on Instagram.
Oh, well, thanks for the shout out. And is he to the left or the right of you?
I think he'd actually be more to the right than me.
Oh, that's
hey. I mean, yeah, he's fully on
look,
like, like I'm a Francoist. There's a
slight redeeming quality. Would you see this America be an authoritarian state?
Under its current, I mean, if you have a good ruler, right? This is what Plato talks about.
You could have just said yes.
Is having a
so yes, you're for an authoritarian ruler if you agree with them.
Would you install Donald Trump as the authoritarian ruler?
No. He's clearly shown his cards that he can be bought and swayed so easily.
And he's probably a pedophile. So who would you put in?
Right.
Who would you put in? Wait, what word were you ready? As long as you don't say racial slurs, I don't care what word you say.
Honestly, there's not really anyone publicly that is good enough. But anyone
Stephen Miller,
similar, JFK, Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt. Someone similar to these kind of gentlemen.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, of course.
Teddy Roosevelt. Wait, did you say Abraham Lincoln too?
Yeah.
You think a modern day Abraham Lincoln who followed the politics of the last? You think he'd still be like pretty much MAGA?
I think he would break beyond MAGA. I think the current thing that's happening right now, and why you guys are probably being paid to do these kind of shows, is to like kind of weaken MAGA.
Who do you think pays us to do these shows? Wait. Who do you think pays us to do these shows?
It's a whole bankroll thing. I don't know. Probably BlackRock eventually if you go down enough along.
No.
Not the direct guy.
Hey, Thomas. I'm about to blow your mind. I own the company, and I'm the one who pays all the hosts. And there's no income.
Where'd you get the money to get that?
I'll tell you.
From Super Chats.
Yes. No, not Super Chats. All right, let me tell you actually the whole thing. And I can actually even almost break you down proportions. Super Chats makes about 20% of the channel's income. About 40 to 50% of the channel's income comes from AdSense, like ad revenue from YouTube. And then I would say another 30% ish comes from Patreon, and then you've probably got my proportions are probably a little generous in that regard. It's probably a little bit more Super Chat and a little bit less Patreon actually. And then we have a little bit of channel memberships, and the remainder on some months we get a little bit of a boost from what's called merch. We sell t-shirts and stuff like that. Okay. That is the entirety of I do the accounting every month. That is the entirety of where our money comes from.
Okay, when you say where our money comes from, is that for the company specifically that you have here with like an LLC holdings? Is that for you directly? I mean, have you ever received funds from APAC? I don't even know.
No, I get nothing from Boy, you don't know shit about us. You think that
that's rough.
Are you under the impression that we are a pro-Israel channel? Because we are constantly talking about the genocide in Gaza and how disgusting the fascist leader there in Israel is. But Thomas, there are no exterior funds. Yes, when I'm referring to I'm referring to our company. I am the owner and leader of the company. And do you know what's really going to bug you, Thomas? The way I distribute income to the people who work here is on a socialist profit share model.
It is.
No, see, that doesn't bother me. There's nothing wrong with, I mean, gosh, you look at the European models when they were in, I think, Norway or something, and they were able to like have mock systems of both capitalist and socialist societies. When you have a society that's homogenous and able to like trust each other, they don't really try to take advantage of each other.
Thomas, so it'll only bug you when I reveal to you that it'll only reveal to you that over half of the people who work for me then aren't homogenous. They actually come from minority communities, whether they be racial, sexual orientation, or the fact that the number 2 in command at my channel is a trans woman at my company.
I mean, someone's own, mental aptitude is beside. I mean, hey, if you want to hire someone like that, that's your prerogative there, man.
A very capable woman who does a better job than I've had literally cis men in that position before. Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, it is definitely my prerogative to hire very
Okay,
capable
so
people.
We'll bring this into question. I heard you guys talking about this earlier. Why does it matter that I should affirm a transgender person? Why should I affirm them as transgender?
Frankly, I don't give a fuck what you do as long as you don't vote against their best interest and you don't put activism into stopping them from accessing the medical care and public services that they need access to. Now, as far as you, if you're going to go around and not use their pronouns or whatever else, fucking, I give a shit. You're shitty, just in the same way that if instead of calling you Thomas, I call you Man Titty McGee, you're not going to enjoy, like, it may or may not bug you depending on the amount of body dysmorphia you have. And it would be me, the asshole, talking to you that way. But if you want to, I believe you have the right to exist as an asshole in society. But when it comes to public policy and denying people public services and important medical services, that's where there's the issue.
Okay, so what is it an important medical service that they can't just exist on their own while having this body dysmorphia?
But body dysmorphia has to do with man titties, not, you're thinking of gender dysphoria.
Body dysmorphia that are gym goers and they think, oh, I need to get way more buff than I am. And yeah, you're
right. You're right. First of all, you're mistaking body dysmorphia with gender dysphoria, but you are quite right that cis people cis people also experience gender dysphoria, and we don't deny them care. In fact, we pay for their Viagra. And some insurances will pay for other things, as far as like fucking Elon Musk has had gender affirming care.
That was going to be my next question. Is Thomas, do you understand that the vast majority of gender affirming care is for cisgender people?
So, okay, I haven't looked into the specific statistics about that, but what I will ask though is, if that's okay on certain levels, to be like, okay, well then, we have to allow them to be getting their care, blah, 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 right? On the flip question there, why is it that a company would then have to be forced to fund something like Plan B pills or anything like that when they themselves as a private company might not agree with that kind of procedure at all?
Because just to be clear, like, sorry, you go ahead, Jimmy.
Oh,
sorry.
Thomas, in a way I agree with you, but not with the solution that you have. The reason why they should be is because healthcare should be publicly accessible and there should not be restrictions based on any sort of discriminatory factor. But to tell you the truth, I also think we should get rid of that, because I think we should get rid of private health insurance.
Yeah, it's fair. So I was going to say something similar. I was going to point out that, like, at the end of the day, the problem there is capitalized medicine. But also, I would ask you, Thomas, like, who do you trust specifically to decide from their moral values and their specific ideology, like, what healthcare you should have access to? Do you have somebody that you would want to point out as like, this is the person that this person should decide arbitrarily, their morals, their decision, what actual healthcare I can get, and I'm going to go work for them? Or do you think that maybe you should be able to work wherever you want to work, and you should get the healthcare that you need based on what the best doctors and scientists in the world decide, and then you, as the patient, get to decide what you actually participate in, not some CEO of some company making some arbitrary moral decision based on their religion, their ideology, their politics, or whatever? What do you think is a better model?
Well, obviously, I'll open up here. I'm an Orthodox Christian, so ultimately I would say someone who I'd want to actually, quote unquote, arbitrarily, I mean, it wouldn't be arbitrary. They would actually have full logistical reasons, and they're very well studied people, would be bishops of current Orthodox churches, both America and worldwide. Now, aside from that, if we're talking about privatization versus publicization, making the healthcare system public, right, where it's just not necessarily a right, but it's something that the government gives for free. Just like how if you get arrested, you're awarded a lawyer, right? That's part of, something America's been doing for quite a while. So if that were the case, that means we now as a country have to publicly fund this, which has to come from something. It has to come from either companies, it has to come from the people with their taxes. It has to come from somewhere, and therefore there should be measures be put in place, right, so that people aren't unhealthy, so it's that people don't become a tax burden just because they want to abuse the system here. So now this goes back to the further question: is
so you said two things here, Thomas. Before you go on to the next thing, you've said two big problems here. So I'm gonna just pick at those for a second. If you want to move on to the next thing afterwards, we can. But like, I'm not gonna let you go on for much longer here. So the first thing you said is that you would trust bishops. How many bishops do you know that have a medical degree?
I can name off of one at the top of my head. I haven't researched enough of them at the top of the current ones alive, but I know one directly. Okay,
so you know one bishop who is also a medical doctor. How many bishops do you know that are also immunologists?
Well, okay. At some point, science can go too far, right? There is
what a wild answer to that question.
Because at the end of the day, there aren't bishops who are also epidemiologists, immunologists, biomedical scientists, physicians, surgeons, like all of these actual healthcare professions that come together. I'm sure there's one or two, Thomas. But the point is, there are actually like massive healthcare professional organizations full of the best doctors and scientists in the world who actually do evaluate evidence as they are trained to do and come to great decisions about how healthcare should be provided and operate and all these different things about how to make people actually healthy in the long run. And those people don't have to also be religious in any sense. What you're saying is the same thing you said earlier when you said you'd be cool with authoritarianism as long as you like the authoritarian, somebody like Lincoln or Teddy Roosevelt. In this case, you would like it if somebody was making healthcare decisions that they have no qualification or training to make as long as they agree with you in a religious sense. And then you went on to say that at the end of the day, if we're doing this as a public thing, if we're doing this thing as a public thing, I'm going to finish what I was saying because I'll let you speak for a long time.
Thomas, you have to stop over talking.
I put him on mute for a second. I let you get 2 points out. I am now going to explain why those 2 points are silly, and we're going to go through the whole thing, and then we can move on to your next idea. The second thing you said is that, if we try to make healthcare public, somebody has to pay for that. Yes, 110%. The same way that somebody has to pay for roads and bridges and municipal water supplies and public schools and public libraries and police and firefighters and all sorts of other public services that we all benefit from. Yes, we would tax people, and then that would pay for these services. And there's ways we can get into how to tax people better, to shift the burden off of the lower and middle classes and put it where it belongs and all that. But it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, I'm telling you, as somebody who would love to not pay more, I would be happy to pay much, much, much more in taxes if I knew that it was going to socialized medicine for everybody.
That wasn't his actual problem, was the paying more. His problem was that, therefore, if you're paying more...
somebody has to.
No, it wasn't even that. It was that, therefore, for paying more, we should force people who want to not be healthy to be healthy. We can't allow people to be unhealthy, and then he was going to turn that into a transphobic point. So he's for it as long as you're not allowed to be unhealthy.
That is what he was getting to, and that's where I cut him off before he moved to that point, because I wanted to just address those two things first. So I feel like it's important to just kind of nip that in the bud and say, like, as far as we're talking about, like, oh, somebody has to pay for it. Yeah, bitch, me. Like, I'd be happy to. But now we can move on. If you have something you think I missed, I'd be happy to hear it. But I'd much rather move on to the next shitty thing you were about to say about obese people and trans people, because I guarantee you're going to say something completely privileged and silly, and we can address it.
It won't be anything meaningfully new anyway. But go on, Thomas. You're unmuted.
What's up, Thomas?
Okay, cool. So the two things here then is you were saying that, yes, the burden goes to the people and everything. And yeah, I agree with you that there is a big portion of, hey, if my money went to go save someone who's dying of cancer because they weren't able to afford it and went there, that's amazing, right? They're saving a life. Most people are altruistic in some way, in some fashion. Now, yeah, the question here is preventative care. If you're going to actually, like, someone who is transgender, is it necessarily transphobic, right? To actually if they actually discover that it's something that develops and that you can actually stop it ahead of the time and they have a quote unquote more normal life. Is that actually transphobic To what?
It's a meaningless hypothetical because that doesn't exist. And right now, the best medical understanding is that the treatment for dysphoria for a person who is transgender and desires to transition, that their best treatment is that transition. So whether or not you're discussing the cure thing, and I'm not going to have a conversation about whether or not, quote unquote, curing being trans is ethical without a trans person present, because I would be speaking completely from the outside. But you're welcome to call our trans hosted show on any Thursday and ask them that exact same question about the eugenics that you're trying to promote.
If you don't want to answer that one, that's okay.
And also, just to be clear, no, I would answer that just to say that, like, what you're proposing here, Jimmy's right. It is a meaningless hypothetical. I hate when people dodge hypotheticals.
And it's eugenics meaningless.
Too. But the biggest thing is that fascism. It only makes sense. Yes. Your question only makes sense if you are assuming, starting from the standpoint that being trans is wrong or something that we should be avoiding. That's the issue. So, like, if you want to argue, wouldn't it be right to stop it if we could stop it? Would it be right to stop growing blonde hair if we could stop it and make sure everybody has brown hair? You have to start from the assumption that this is something undesirable, bad, negative, harmful to society, causes some harm to a person, whatever else. Being trans is not harmful. What happens to a trans person living in a transphobic society, that's harmful. What happens to trans people if they don't get the care that they need, that's harmful.
I cannot agree at all with that. I would love to go on more with that, but you guys already said that you won't have a conversation without someone being trans in the.
No, I said that we have the right time and place for it, and it's easy for a bunch of cis people to go with I don't know when we actually have a trans call-in show with experts on the matter. Who would be much more well suited that you can call. But I have a couple of quick questions for you, and this will be able to focus some of your beliefs. And so none of them are meant as a trick or anything. First things first, would you agree that right now America is not the vision you have for America is not what America is right now?
The vision I have, I mean, I'm a little bit confused.
Being ruled by
sure.
Okay, I don't think it's that confusing. I think you're trying to be a bit pedantic, perhaps, but it's not that confusing. Let me ask you, what part of this definition would be wrong? If I said, or this statement, Thomas favors an authoritarian, ultranationalist ideology for America that would centralize sort of regemic power to orthodoxy, for example. It would use that power to suppress opposition, and it would direct society on that basis and would enforce a sort of cultural, at minimum, cultural homogeny. What is any part of that statement wrong?
Yeah.
Which part?
I would definitely say that the enforcement definitely is always, like, questionable.
Well, you did describe that, like, forcing people to not be fat, it sounded like you were in favor of. But would there be, in your future one, would there be laws where the basis for those laws would be primarily religious? Like, you wouldn't be passing an anti-abortion law on the basis, or would you allow people to have sex out of marriage? Would you have religious laws that people were not allowed to violate?
Well, I mean, there were a lot of those laws until what?
No, we're just asking you right now. Is that so? Your answer is yes, and you could have just said yes. So
no,
I don't.
My answer is not necessarily yes, and there's a reason.
Okay, would gay people be legally protected if they wanted to have sex with each other in your future America?
Sorry, we were both talking. What people?
Gay people.
Gay people. They're too much of a current part of society. I guess I really couldn't.
You couldn't what?
It would be.
You couldn't what?
You
Thomas, stop trying.
Because, I mean, look at the riots that happened.
Stop trying to jump ahead though and move to other things. So, in your ideal future society, is gay sex legal or illegal?
That's too broad of a question there. That really
okay, so the answer is illegal. So the only thing you had the only thing you had a problem with was necessarily the enforcement of the cultural homogeny, even though you would dramatically restrict immigration, it sounds like, and you would even restrict people who had the power to vote, which is literally the enforcement of that homogeny. Of the statement I made, that was where you take issue, and what we can disagree whether or not you're actually whether or not that was wrong. Is that at least correct?
Okay, so I'll give a better example here.
No, I just want you to listen, Thomas. It's not a trick. Okay, let me explain. Thomas, stop for a second. Stop for a second. Stop for a second. Thomas, stop for a second.
Yes.
These questions are not tricks, and answering them is not going to be like, boom, there it is. I promise you, I've been doing this long enough that the questions are created to get us the most efficiently to a place.
Okay.
And so going off in these, I'll give you a better example, a better whatever. All I need to know is whether or not that the statement I gave you, and I can probably restate it, I can probably remember most of it. What percentage of it was correct? Give it a grade from A through F. An authoritarian, ultra-nationalist ideology wants to centralize regimic power to Christian orthodoxy. It would use that power to keep opposition down, and it would have societal control on the basis of that power, and share that power only with those that it deems, I suppose you could go with worthy of that power. And then I had added, but it sounds like you wanted to take off, but would use its enforcement would go toward maintaining the cultural homogeny of that system. What percentage of that is wrong?
I would give you a C- on that.
Okay,
it's
great.
Close,
so as far as close but not quite, great. You are close but not quite to the literal definition of fascism, but you're not a fascist. Okay. So now, would you agree that America, would you agree that America is far from being a close but not quite fascist nation right now?
Oh, dude, no, it is far off. I mean, it's getting there, but it's pretty far off.
So would you agree that MAGA is going at least in that direction compared to other political directions, and the possibility of that future is made greater by the fact that the MAGA movement and Donald Trump took power?
If you mean MAGA as the people, no. If you mean MAGA as Donald Trump and the other tech bros that are trying to take power, yes.
Okay, excellent. So MAGA, being what it actually is heading toward an America that it is definitely not right now. And here is the point I want to make to you, Thomas. By your own admissions, then, the America you want is not currently here and would be fundamentally, transformatively different to get to. But because of Donald Trump and MAGA, it is possible to get there. AKA, it is possible to destroy America as it currently exists to get there, and only because of America and MAGA, rather Trump and MAGA. The point being, by your own admissions, your first assertion that the title statement, the primary debate topic is ridiculous, I don't think it is, and I don't think you think it is, because I think you think that process has begun to destroy America, so your not quite but almost fascist system can be put into place. Now, Thomas, please respond.
Okay. I mean, again, I made that clear distinction that there's a difference between the tech bros who have taken over what the MAGA movement originally was. Back in 2016, when I was a huge Trump sycophant, I was like, this guy can do no wrong, basically. Like, I almost considered him a saint, pretty much, what he was doing, right? What he was saying, what he was going to go do. Back when he was saying, oh, the Iraq war, bad idea. Importing the third world.
We believe you. We don't need more examples. I'd rather have the example of what finally broke you free, but then it broke you free for closer to fascism. But you're trying to make a distinction without a difference, because this is still the movement. It still has over 80%. It might be over 90% approval amongst the MAGA movement. What
definition of fascism are you using here? That's kind of interesting. Are you using like Giovanni Gentile, like the guy who actually made it? Like, who are you using?
I just really love that I was in the middle of a point and you tried to completely divert from it and move back to something more. I guess you feel more ready. Are you done with your old point? Are you going to admit that if you want, we can move back to there? But first, I want your admission that actually you also believe MAGA, the movement and the people, are destroying America, and it actually happens to be in favor toward an America you prefer.
No, again, because I made this distinct separation here. That's what I was saying, is that in the newest takeover of Trump and the MAGA movement, where it's been going more towards whatever the tech bros want, that's when it shifted. That is the moment, right? When gosh, what's that guy's name? Miriam Adelson, or the lady, spent $200 billion on Trump so that he could vote everything that she wanted to put into power.
Why are you picking Adelson as the billionaire, though, when this is clearly a Peter Thiel thing?
It's both.
It's way more Thiel than anybody else.
What's up?
It's way more Thiel than anybody else. Thiel. Now, I imagine you quite like Thiel, because Thiel is also why Project 2025 is having such levels of success. I imagine you support Project 2025.
Oh my gosh, no! Peter Thiel's almost the Antichrist himself.
Wild, because he seems to be doing your bidding. You even admitted that they've made it possible that you could see your desired future in a way that wouldn't have happened without them.
I never agreed with you on that statement. I 100% fully said that it's close. It was going in a direction back in 2016. It started to go off kilter during the first administration, and then by the second administration, it was completely off the rails. I
believe if you rewind, you will find that I asked you specifically whether or not your future is more obtainable because of Trump and that movement, and you said yes. I could be misremembering, but it was the basis of the argument that then followed, so it would have been weird.
Going in this direction.
Oh, so so it is going in that direction because of what they did before, but now it's still going in that direction, but other people than you wish would benefit are benefiting because they're non-Orthodox Catholic? The wrong fascists are getting power? Is that kind of where we're going?
Well, actually, I mean, yeah, that's actually pretty. There you go. You figured it out, dude. There you go. That's what I'm trying to say the entire time.
You want me to judge you not by the fascist you dislike, only the fascists you do?
Of course. I mean, gosh, why would I love fucking Hitler? Excuse my language, but I'm sorry. Why would I love Hitler when he made actual people saints because his regime killed people? Like, come on.
Wait. So is that what your problem with Hitler was? The genocide of the Jews and others?
The problem with Hitler is specifically the Nietzschean philosophy attached to it. The social framework of the socialism and making a society where it's like, the Reichmark is based upon the actual production that is made of the society of the average steel worker, and the fact that every family gets,
real quick.
There's a lot of the
Thomas, could you repeat the question I just asked you? Could you actually repeat the question I just asked you?
You just asked what I remember hearing was you asked, what is it that I don't like about Hitler?
No. And I knew you didn't hear it because it was like I asked a question that had the word taxes in it, but I was talking about tariffs, and then you just talked about sales tax at Walmart.
I also want to be just super clear. You thought the question was, what do you not like about Hitler? And your answer was, he was socialist.
Right.
Not he was
I think he said the
mass murdering maniac who, looked to the U.S.'s early days and had people like Henry Ford for just to be as fascist as possible.
That is completely the reverse of what I said. That is completely the reverse of what I said.
That's why I said it that way. If you remember what I just said a second ago, is that I think it's funny that you thought Jimmy asked you, what do you not like about Hitler? And your response was, I don't like his socialist ideals and policies, not he was a genocidal maniac. He was a racist piece of shit who did horrible things and believed horrible things. It was, I don't like the socialism aspect, which, by the way, he wasn't fucking
worth noting. Yeah, he wasn't a socialist. Yeah. Anybody watching, nationalism and socialism are incompatible.
Whoa. He wasn't a socialist?
Correct.
That is insane.
Correct.
That is insane.
Yeah, and yet he wasn't a socialist.
The man who built his system on Mussolini, who was the first man to normalize, what's the word? Going to the League of Nations and saying the USSR was an actual state. Mussolini and him in going back and forth with the USSR as both socialist states for a very long time. And this man who built that on top of that, on
and what was it about? And what was it about Mussolini's youth, where he was originally a socialist, that then changed and would redefine what he actually was as not socialism? What is that thing? What is that thing that's incompatible with socialism that makes it impossible?
Something that actually, as a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, he actually coined the word for, if I remember right.
I don't know if well, he might. Did he coin that or the word is I'm thinking of. It rhymes with Boltrabationalism.
That is also true. That is also true.
Are you ready to answer the quiz? It's 17 points. You could win a night with Zerba.
So, yeah, I literally don't care that the answer is ultranationalism. I don't care.
Which is incompatible with socialism, and why both Hitler and Mussolini were not, in fact, socialists.
I was throwing out fascism, which Mussolini coined the word for, and also is incompatible with socialism. But that's just me.
I'm sorry, wait, did you just try to compare it to China as though you think I would accept China as some socialist ideal nation?
It's closer to what, Italy and Germany were in the 30s and 40s, or even the Ba'athist Party in, Syria and Iraq and Egypt.
Yeah, Thomas,
so you think I would call China a socialist country?
Thomas, can you please define the word socialism? What is socialism?
When government does stuff.
When the state does more stuff. How about that?
Oh my God, you did the meme.
I literally whispered that as a joke as you said it.
God.
But okay, do you actually want to take a real shot at answering that, or is that what you're sticking with?
Well, it depends who you're asking.
No.
It depends who's defining it. If we're taking from purely Marxist ideas, I mean, would you consider the Grassi brothers socialists?
Is Jordan Peterson playing you on OnlyFans so he has something to masturbate you to? Like just you obfuscate your obfuscation?
Jordan Peterson, dude, he's gone downhill. He should have just stayed in psychology stuff. His psychology stuff was okay. When he got into politics, it went all downhill.
Oh.
So again, what is socialism, Thomas?
When the state does more stuff.
Do you have a real answer, or are you going to stick with the meme answer? Because to be perfectly honest, with the amount of actual thought you've put into most of your positions, I wouldn't be shocked if that was your actual answer. But I'm curious to know if it is.
No, obviously that's not the
then what is
definition of what socialism is.
Because so far you've had plenty of time to Google it right now, because that's what you're doing. You're going to give yourself some time. So what is it? What is socialism?
How would I define socialism? Let's see.
Let's
see what ChatGPT says.
He's got his phone. He's got his phone over here, and he's quickly
I don't
what
even
the fuck
mind
is
if
socialism?
I don't even mind. I'm fine with that. I went after I gave you my definition and was like, all right, how far off was I from the fascist thing? And it turns out I nailed it. I went and looked to make sure that I hadn't just made myself look dumb. And it turns out I didn't. I look smarter than I was surprised myself. So go ahead, look it up and give us the definition you actually do accept.
Okay. Well, if we read directly off of ChatGPT here, I'll be frank. I run it right now. Socialism is a political, social, economic system where the means of production, like factories, lands, and resources, are owned and regulated collectively, either by the state, community, or workers themselves. Which that was definitely Germany, Italy, Spain, Syria.
So just to be clear, can you explain?
Except it wasn't, because people were rejected from participating in that system based on whether or not they met the nationalist ideology.
Right. It was all about control.
Okay.
The question now is,
Bolshevik.
Can you please explain to me how that model, where the people own the means of production, where the people in general are in control of the economy, is compatible with fascism and ultranationalism?
Yeah, it's directly towards the people. That's why the auto manufacturer was called the Volkswagen. Like, are you kidding?
Thomas,
it's okay.
You are the smartest dumb person I have met. It is crazy. I don't know if it's that it's so important to you to just not admit when you're wrong here. but literally your answer to why it's compatible is because it's compatible because it belongs to some people. That's why it's compatible, as though that isn't the fucking difference between socialism and fascism at like the largest difference. Some people, chosen people versus the people.
Why don't you do me a favor, Thomas? Just really quickly,
Yes.
Is socialism a left-wing or a right-wing ideology?
Is socialism a left-wing or a right-wing ideology? It can be implemented both ways.
No, oh man.
No, go ahead and go to ChatGPT or whatever other thing you're looking up. Go to whatever else. Thomas, go to ChatGPT or whatever you're using to do your thinking for you right now, and just look up: is socialism a left or right wing idea, and is fascism a left or right wing idea? Look up those two questions and tell us what you find.
I'm going to ask ChatGPT here, how would Giovanni Gentile...
Or you could do the thing that we just asked.
Thomas,
because that's
we know it'll expose your position as wrong, but you said it was reliable enough to get your definition of socialism. So why do you have to try and trick it?
You don't think... Wait, I thought you were on...
What is wrong with the question? ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT whether or not socialism is left-wing or right-wing.
And then also ask whether fascism is left-wing or right-wing. That's what we want to know.
I think he knows that fascism is right-wing. I doubt he contends with that.
Maybe.
I could be wrong.
Oddly enough, central authoritarianism for... Because it does...
Oh, there you go.
It's too modern to be fully right-wing. It's not traditionalist. It's modern.
Mm-hmm.
Credit where it's due. Those are words, but it's not even close to the actual definition or what we're trying to go for. I understand, Thomas, that you want to have the conversation in your head that's more comfortable for you, the one that you already won in the shower. But at the end of the day, what we're asking you is actually pretty on topic, and it matters. So what'd you come up with in terms of whether or not socialism is left or right wing, and whether or not fascism is left or right wing? What'd you come up with when you queried the brain bot about that?
Okay, so reading directly from Giovanni Gentile,
reading.
So you looked up Giovanni Gentile again.
ChatGPT. We do not recognize Giovanni Gentile as the authority on modern socialism or fascism or historical.
You magically don't agree with.
Or historical. It's nothing magical. Use ChatGPT as your authority for the definition of socialism. Clearly, you trust ChatGPT like last night's episode of South Park. So please put in, is socialism left-wing or right-wing into ChatGPT.
Interesting that there's no gradient, that I can't specifically trust one answer on ChatGPT versus all answers. If I use it as a basis in one way, I have to use it as a basis for everything.
Thomas, just to be clear, you should, I as an educator am encouraging you, don't use ChatGPT as a source at all. The reason why I'm asking you to do this is because a minute ago, that was the source you chose to go with, which was very funny, but we're just rocking with it for a minute. I'm not telling you you can't trust everything from ChatGPT equally. I'm telling you, you are not responding to the question that we are actually asking. You are deliberately avoiding it to have the conversation that you are more comfortable with because you think you've already won it somewhere in your head. We are asking you a specific question, and you are specifically not answering that specific question because it's uncomfortable for you. Ask ChatGPT the thing that we're asking you if you actually want to have a serious answer. If not, then at least just be honest with us about the fact that you're only absorbing information that you already agree with. Because if you're not interested in learning a new thing, it's not really worth my time to keep trying to get you there.
The whole thing's dumb anyway, because you're wanting to go, wait, you will trust, you're telling me to do ChatGPT instead of literally a fascist who you want us to trust his definite. We do not trust a fascist definition of socialism. Giovanni Gentile is not a reliable source. Giovanni Gentile also recognized himself as a humanist. Guess what? I'm a secular humanist. I wouldn't call that fucker a humanist any fucking day of the week.
You'd be shocked to know that the people who invent a concept or coin a term or whatever like that, they're not, a lot of times, it helps, but there are times where, yes, the concept evolves past them and it moves. So like, just answer the question we're asking, dude. Is socialism left wing or right wing? Is fascism left wing or right wing? And I swear to fuck, if you just go on to say, okay, well then here's this other person who invented a thing that I disagree with, or whatever the fuck other thing, it just, God, it's such a waste of time. So fucking boring.
Okay, so I'm not uncomfortable from the answer that ChatGPT would say and would agree with what you guys are saying, that yes, it would think that fascism is not a type of socialism. Now, I'm already rejecting this idea, and that was my whole point, was to bring actual authors and say this is what they try to implement,
Fascist
and say that this
authors.
is a type of socialism.
Fascist authors.
As you were saying,
Not just authors, fascist
evolve
authors.
and go past and become new things. So that's what I'm letting you know.
It's like I'm wondering about the Confederacy and why it's a good thing, so I look up Albert Pike. It's just so fucking stupid.
Islamic terrorist organizations often call themselves humanitarian organizations because they use that word. Should we accept them as such?
Yeah, obviously not. And I'm not accepting ChatGPT's answer either.
But you do accept
Or
the
your
fascist answer on what a socialist is.
That it is a type of socialism, yes.
Yeah, and that's why you are wrong.
It's a
collective state-owned government.
Just to be clear, Thomas,
it's a merging of corporate powers and the government.
You just slammed your head. Thomas, you just slammed your head into Jimmy's point in order to deny that the point exists. What he said is that Islamic terrorist organizations call themselves humanitarian. And you said, right. Anyway, I accept this fascist's definition of what socialism is and that he was socialist. You just made Jimmy's point for him while also dismissing, here's this source that just a minute ago you pretended was objective and non-biased and reliable, and I don't trust that source anymore because now it's saying something I don't agree with. But I do agree with the fascist who says something that I like, whether or not it's actually true. That's what you're presenting to us right now.
Never
and
said
I
the
don't
fascist was objective.
how
never
you believe.
was objective. No.
I did it.
Okay, I want to try something. I want to try something. Thomas, let's clear this up. Let's clear this up real quick. I think I can do it this way. Do you believe that the American tradition from the past of slavery, as in white people enslaving black people for labor, is good or bad?
Oh, it's completely evil. It was something
evil, exactly.
That came to be just because.
And would you say it's based on racism?
Shortly after the. Was up?
Would you say it's based on racism?
No, it was based upon heresy, actually.
You don't think that the white people who enslaved black people had an easy time doing so because of their racism? Because they actually didn't believe that the black people were the same type of human as they were, or that they even were human?
You said you think it's because.
Yes, that's
what is the root source of why this exists? And I'm saying that is not the root source.
So in your world, it would have still happened were the racism not present.
That it was legal to now own slaves. The Pope decreed this in the 15th century, and the West accepted this.
Thomas, your pedantry is hilarious, and frankly, it obviously would not have existed.
The West never had slaves.
It would not have existed were it not for either racism, classism, or ethnicism. These are the things that drive those things. But let's just come back and go in general. Is the view that black people are inferior to white people and deserve servitude, is it racism?
Yeah, of course.
And if I say no, actually it's a kind of humanism for whites, does that make it not racism? It's actually humanism?
No, of course not.
Exactly. So if you say it's a kind of socialism, but it's the kind of socialism that makes it not socialism, just like if I say it's a kind of humanism, but it's the kind of humanism that makes it not humanism, it no longer is that thing. And this is our point we are making at you. Your socialism
is the one who said that Bolshevism is the only type of
socialism. What is it?
Which specific authors are the ones who are like, okay, this is the only type of socialism here?
Oh, no. There's no such thing as only type of socialism. However, most socialist theory will include that ultranationalism, and to some degree, even minor levels of nationalism does not work. That they are incompatible with each other.
Yes, most leftist socialists. You're right. That is correct.
No. There's no other type of leftist, of other type of socialist. Socialism is leftist.
Bashar al-Assad was not a socialist. His party was not the National Socialist Party of Syria.
Correct.
The Ba'athist Party was not socialist.
Again,
the Ba'athist
calling
Party
it
who took 80% ownership of this. Oh my God, are you kidding me?
correct. Using the term socialist does not make you socialist just because you say it does. If you add in nationalism, we just went over this. If I rebrand racism as humanism for whites, it doesn't, I then don't get to go, huh, those slave owners weren't humanists, even though they're from the humanists are whites policy. That's what you sound like right now, Thomas.
I'll be honest. I've taken too much of your time here. Your audience is
and not enough of your own time to think.
Lukewarm
It's
IQ leftists who have never actually read more than just Marxist Bolshevism. They can't think they're set out of everything, and you only want to have this specific definition of socialism. I can't win here. Just
which leftist socialists have you read?
That there is a wider spectrum of thought here, and this is honestly the problem with leftist ideology.
Which leftists have you read? Thomas, which leftists have you read? Which leftists have you read?
What's that?
Which leftists have you read? There will be a quiz.
Das Kapital, for one.
So you accusing our audience of not reading.
A little red fucking book is easy as fuck to read. Are you kidding me?
I feel that sometimes maybe our mistake was Mehdi's mistake too, to not just let you keep explaining what you think and believe, and you're doing the work for us.
It is true. It's true. Was Mao Zedong? Was he left wing or right wing? Really quickly, was he a fascist or not?
Well, according to your definition, because he added the Chinese characteristics, which is partially nationalistic, he's not left wing.
Would you call him a fascist?
No, I would call modern China fascist with communist characteristics.
There you go. Chairman Mao wasn't a fascist, according to Thomas.
I said modern China, sir.
Just take you said. So I'll ask again if you're gonna have a problem. Was Chairman Mao a fascist?
I'm not even sure I would say Mao was a fascist, but he also wasn't an ultranationalist. You're pretending he was. He was an internationalist.
Yeah, sure. That's why he still saw China as the head of the world. He still saw China as the central kingdom.
I'm not supporting Mao. I'm saying your concept of him as an ultra-nationalist is incorrect.
Well, you earlier didn't just say just ultra-nationalism. You were also saying all types of nationalism, if they include socialism.
I actually described that the excluding factor of fascism.
You did do that.
And by the way, is are nationalism and internationalism the same thing?
Of course not.
Yeah.
But you can't have a gradient here?
That's what it is.
Really?
It's our problem. It's definitely our problem with nuance there, Thomas. Well, as you said, you've taken two.
Do you think the Confederacy was a Christian, like a good representation of Christianity? As an Orthodox Christian, you said, do you think that
absolutely not.
Okay. So what would you say in response to
back to the north?
What would you say in response to the following statement that all white men are to be entitled to? I'm sorry, I'm getting caught up in this words. Let me try this again. All white men have the right to own African slaves. That slavery is mutually beneficial to both the owners and the slaves, and that it is abundantly authorized and justified by the experience of mankind and the revealed will of the Almighty Creator, as recognized by all Christian nations. Do you agree with that statement? Sorry, I was stumbling on my words. I had to translate it to modern English.
No, it's complete heresy. And as I explained earlier,
So just to be clear, I understand that. I understand what you explained. I understand what you explained. I am asking you that specific statement you don't agree with. That is directly, the reason why I had to translate it and I was stumbling over my words is because that is a direct line, quote, paraphrase, but that is directly from the Declaration of Secession from Texas. So when Texas joined the Confederacy, they published a document declaring that they were joining the Confederacy, and that statement in there that the slavery of Africans was beneficial to Africans and that it was the will of God and should be recognized by all Christian nations, that was what they said. You as a Christian understand, or you believe in your version of Christianity, that isn't true. So now, apply that exact same thinking to everything else that we've been talking about thus far. Here is this person's version of what they are calling socialism. Here's this person's version of what they are calling fascism. This person's version of what they are calling humanitarianism. You can understand how an asshole who uses these words to try to sound good is still an asshole. And how these terms actually do have a root fundamental meaning that we can actually trace and grow and build upon and go back to primary literature. And what you keep doing over and over and over is understanding that nuance every single time it gets you out of a bind, and rejecting and refusing that nuance every single time you think you can give you a leg up on the evil, terrible leftists that haven't read all the books that you think you've read, even though you don't have anything to do with any leftist literature either. At the end of the day, dude, all you're doing is picking and choosing what you want to believe and backing up your bullshit with feelings rather than facts. It's getting us nowhere. It's gotten us nowhere for almost an hour now.
It's probably rooted in the fact that your religion is false and you have a deep, deep desire to defend it.
No, I would say I would agree that, yes, everything is subjective except Christ's resurrection, right? That everything that has to go in with that is undeniable. This is 100%.
Oh, I deny it. It's not undeniable.
Truth.
I deny it.
Everything
I deny it.
Very deniable.
That's fine.
I deny it.
But I'm saying that, yes, everything else is completely subjectable. No man alone can truly say, well, this is the peak definition of this specific. I mean, gosh, Shakespeare invented so many words because there just wasn't a perfect word for it. Like, definitions change all the time.
I deny.
Yes,
I absolutely deny the resurrection of Jesus Christ. You said it's undeniable, and I absolutely deny it.
Cool. You have freedom of will to do that. I can't.
So it is deniable then.
Proselytizing you.
It is deniable then.
I'm saying it's still an objective truth. I'm saying
no, it isn't. I'm saying it absolutely is not an objective truth.
You would not be able to actually.
Objective,
you would not be able to pull against it.
Objective truth 100%. Is demonstrable. Objective truth is demonstrable, and I submit that you cannot demonstrate the objective truth of the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
There is innumerable evidence on that. I don't want to get
into that. There genuinely isn't. There is actually zero evidence of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. There is at best evidence of potentially a Jesus and evidence of a Christian movement, but evidence that would demonstrate objectively beyond, maybe you think that the collective of anecdotal evidence, which isn't actually evidentiary toward objective means, maybe you think the plural of that is data, but even there you're fucked because you have the one anecdote that says there's 500, but not the actual 500.
What would something that you would say that most people say isn't anecdotal or is something that people come to that's, oh, this is an objective truth here, that you're like, no, this is totally anecdotal?
I'm sorry, do you not understand the difference? But you don't understand the difference between anecdotal evidence and other forms of evidence, like empirical evidence?
Yes, obviously the anecdotal is it's debatable. It's something that you can't actually prove on. It's
right. It is the basis upon which no one should accept anything as an objective fact.
And it can actually show, but it is to some degree anecdotal, even though it is the best historical document for that time. It is still
wait, what?
Yeah, you don't have photo evidence.
That's not even true. You think the Bible?
The Bible,
you think the Bible is the best historical document for that time?
The book with magic tricks?
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
wild.
The book that has a talking donkey in it?
With who monkey?
The donkey. The book with the talking donkey is the best historical manuscript of the time.
Hey, people, if you think you can do, real quick, Thomas, if you think you can do better than him and engage a little more honestly, I'm sure we'll probably be done soon. The number is on the screen, 336-543-2101. We would love to talk to another person who supports, especially if you actually support the MAGA movement as it is and not and its end goals, as opposed to whether or not it's going to sufficiently get you to your almost but not quite fascist system. Anyway, returning to Thomas's claim about the best historical document was the Bible.
Shrek might be a documentary, it turns out, because talking donkeys are a thing.
Well, if we had no other documents.
And Spider-Man is real because of the comic book. Yes, I've heard all those things before. I was a complete atheist.
That wasn't even what I said.
Church, by the way, so I was completely on your guys' side.
No. Excuse me. My side is not atheism. My side is humanism and skepticism, of which I don't believe you ever were either.
Okay, how that makes no sense. Now I want to know what.
Excuse me. How does that make no sense? Do you need me to repeat it? A humanist is a type of thing. Yeah, a skeptic is a type of thing. Okay. I don't think you've ever been either. Humanists, they maintain that the highest morality is that which benefits humanity is toward their well-being, and a skeptic is a person who withholds belief until sufficient reason. And you're sitting here non-sufficiently believing things like the Bible is true. The best document, even though during that century we had actual historians writing their shit, but apparently it's the best one from that time. Huh?
Josephus agreed with the Bible.
No, it didn't.
That's not true. Also, that was added in later.
He did not. Josephus did not agree with the Bible.
Yeah, he's probably referring. He's probably referring to the. He's probably referring to the fact that like there's one supposed quote attributed to Josephus about Jesus and his resurrection stuff,
but not
which
is agreeing with it. Literally referencing Jesus and Christianity, not even the resurrection, but yes, is also a hoax.
He's saying that the people still believed it, though. He's saying that the people saw this happen. He was recording it that the people.
I have no doubt. Himself, right? I have no problem, even if it wasn't a hoax. If somebody said around 75 CE that Christians believed they saw the resurrection of Jesus Christ several decades after that, there were people who believe that. Considering modern day, I know there are MAGA people who think they've all seen the same collective miracles, or conspiracy theorists who've seen the same aliens, or just modern religious examples like islands of people who saw the sun fall out of the sky. I have no problem with people have reported to him that they believed that. Whether that confirms the objective truth, it obviously does not.
There are more modern demigods. There are more modern demigods than Jesus that also have.
And there was a great.
There are more. Thomas, there are more modern demigods than Jesus, with millions more followers in our lifetime that claim to have seen all sorts of miracles and everything, and you don't believe in any of those things. You are believing in hoaxes and stories that pretend to support your faith claims, even though they don't really.
So have you actually ever tried to go? Well, actually, let me ask you this. Which side of the U.S. do you live on? Do you live on the west or the east?
I'm in Austin, Texas. You can come and find me, baby.
Yeah. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so I'm also right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually go visit and see a miracle in Texas today.
A miracle? You don't say.
Yeah, 100%.
Go for it. What's the miracle?
If a body is put into the ground, it will decompose.
Yeah, no shit.
Will actually, the flesh will pull away. It'll be bones by at least 3 years. The flesh will be eaten.
Obviously, right? Changeable.
You can go.
It's not, generally speaking, sure.
Yeah, but unfortunately, or actually, fortunately, unfortunately for you, you can actually go to Texas and see a man whose body is literally incorrupt, has been dead for years, put in the ground, taken out, and the flesh is still upon him. He was not mummified. They didn't try to do anything to restrict the amount of oxygen that was getting into the body. Nothing like that. But miraculously, there's still flesh on his hands. You can do this in California, and you can do this in New York.
It's funny that these things don't like... Who is it you think is suppressing this obvious miracle? Which, by the way, the one in Texas...
At all, actually.
What's that?
This is not suppressed at all.
And yet it hasn't become, when it's confirmed as a miracle, instead of it actually having to do with the soil, with a thing called dry mummification. Literally, that you're sitting here and going, here is what usually happens. And yet other things also happens. For example, we have fossils, because though the overwhelming majority of things that die never leave a mark, and there will be many things we never discover, under the exact right conditions, these bones, obviously no longer bones, that we should have that the odds of them preserving are very low, have preserved in a way we can observe and study. Like
it's not a state of this is a very low thing for this to happen. If your body is put in the ground, you will decompose.
Usually,
unless certain factors, which, by the way,
right.
the thing that you are talking about is Elmer McCurdy, and his death, his preservation has already been explained by a combination of environmental preservation called dry heat and sealed burial, chemical conditions, soil or embalming, and other natural processes which mummify people, because mummification can happen indeliberately too, not only deliberately. You have not blown anybody's mind here.
It just what does blow my mind.
Who are you talking about? If not Elmer McCurdy, because that is the most famous example. So who are you talking about besides Elmer McCurdy?
St. John of Shanghai, who lives and rests. Sorry, he's not living currently. He rests now.
Say the name
in
again.
The heart of San Francisco.
You said
Saint
Texas.
Yeah, there's one in Texas too. I forgot the name of the saint.
Okay, St. John of what?
You can Shanghai, San Francisco, St. John Kronstadt, St. John Maximovich.
Okay, I will try and find all of them. Let's see. Archbishop John Vakamamich, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
You can go visit him right now.
I am live, and I know it's going to have. I don't worry that I'm going to get it. That it was a magical explanation.
Sure, even though it's fully recorded in modern history that he was just buried, they didn't do anything to prep him to be mummified.
Again, you don't have to do anything.
Taken out.
Just to be clear, Thomas. I'm just looking up miraculous bodies that didn't come. I've got Miracle in Missouri. I've got this nun that shows no sign of decay after 4 years.
By the way,
I see a bunch of
real quick, we do have to. I do have to point out that you lied just a moment ago, or you didn't know you were wrong. St. John, the one, did he die in Seattle in 1966?
When did I say Seattle?
No. Did St. John die in Seattle? St. John of Shanghai. Sorry.
I didn't say where he died at all.
No. That's not what I'm saying. You lied about. Do I have the right one? His body was exhumed in 1993 during canonization preparations. Witness reported it was remarkably well preserved. Am I talking about the right one? Great. He was embalmed. You already lied that you said no preparations was done, and I've already confirmed he was embalmed.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll be honest. I did not know that he was embalmed.
Yes, because that's what it takes to believe in miracles like this, to not follow up whether there's a natural explanation, to hear from somebody else that that's true and go, you know what? I believe in magic in a young girl's heart, that the music can free her whenever it starts.
Thomas, the issue that I'm having here is like you say there are some bodies that haven't decomposed. First of all, I immediately just would say I don't believe you, because I would just say immediately I don't believe you because I'm a skeptic and I want to see evidence of what you're saying first. Now we're looking up some examples, and Jimmy found some examples. I found some examples of like some people that just for some reason didn't decompose. In one case, one of them was embalmed. In the other case, there are other scientific explanations, because as he explained, you don't have to deliberately like wrap somebody in gauze and pull out all their organs to mummify them. Mummification is just a word for the preservation of a body. It can happen accidentally. It does all the time. So like you're telling me there are some bodies that didn't decompose. What you have just told me is weird shit happens. That's what you have described to me. And I find it weird that you're going to cling to this as your first example of like this miraculous nature of this deity and the magical world that we live in. Also, sometimes dead people don't rot. That is the power of your God. That is the power that you're bringing to us. 10,000 children starving to death
100%.
every day. That's nothing about that. Nothing about genocide, nothing about war, nothing about. But sometimes already dead people don't rot at about the same rate you would expect weird shit to happen. As Jimmy pointed out, fossilization is very, very rare. I can tell you as a biologist, fossilization is not only ridiculously rare, it is very hard to do. It is absolutely absurd that we get any fossils at all. And yet they are so unbelievably common. You can buy them from gift shops a lot of the time because they're just marine fossils are fucking everywhere. It is ridiculously rare to make fossils, and yet fossils happen. It is ridiculously rare for somebody to be accidentally mummified, and yet we have plenty of mummified bodies that weren't meant to be mummies. Some of them that are so well preserved that we can see their hair color. Shit happens, and that's the power of your God, is that already dead people don't rot very fast. Meanwhile, 24,000 people, 10,000 of them children, starve to death every single day. Meanwhile, there's still genocides going on in Palestine, in Sudan, in Congo. Meanwhile, people are still raped and murdered all around the world every single day. Meanwhile, we still have to deal with people like you who fucking think that fascism is a good thing as long as you like the leader, kind of like Teddy Roosevelt for whatever fucking reason. It's ridiculous that that's what you're bringing up to us at this moment. And the best evidence you have is, here's some shit that I didn't look into very well, but it sounded like magic to me. That's your evidence for the undeniable fact that a man rose from the dead 2,000 years ago with 4 conflicting stories in a book about talking animals that you think is the best historical record of the time.
Okay, you're off your soapbox. Great. So, yeah.
Oh, fuck off.
It'd be great if you could respond to what I said.
You're broadcasting that you didn't listen to any of that. Great, you're off your soapbox.
Oh, I heard it completely.
No, you didn't.
I heard it completely.
You couldn't even repeat my question earlier. Thomas, I'm going to be honest. I'm bored with you. And so we're just moving on. You have a good day, and actually look up the things and find out which of your other miracles have a natural explanation and call back after that. Because at this point, it's just gotten ridiculous. By the way, you might want to look into how Pope Benedict XIV changed the policy on whether or not someone should be canonized as a miracle for being incorrupted. Yeah, of course, he wasn't going to listen to the last. Go ahead and look that up, because actually since changing that in the 18th century, very few declarations have happened, and I believe none of them were by him, because he actually was against calling it anything besides a sign of holiness, but not a miracle. That incorruptibility was being far too often mistaken as a miracle when it was from natural factors. So even one of the popes
infallibility
was
tends
against
to change whenever you have a new pope. Whenever you have a new person who's infallible, suddenly the old infallibility is fallible all of a sudden because this new infallible guy said so. Weird.
Yeah, the literal you literally lost a pope's support for your silly miracle argument. All right, Forrest, I don't think you've gotten to talk to T yet, so I'm going to let
I have, unfortunately. I think I have.
All right. Well, T, you're on. We'll see if you can do a little better today. T, it doesn't actually say, it looks like you just put in your identifiers, at least with the notes, just that you're once again a Black MAGA supporter, which don't you worry, I will never forget that's what you are.
You've told us all a million times.
How's it going?
Hello. I hope you do better than the supposed gay supporter today. I don't actually believe them.
I forgot about that. Was God. That felt like a lifetime ago. I forgot that's what was happening.
Yeah. Go ahead, T.
Oh God. Well, basically, I'm calling about what you have as far as the title, Christian nationalism. It's Christian nationalism with MAGA destroying America, I think. If that's
Something along those lines.
That's the current title.
Something along those lines.
Yeah. My question is, for example, if you see like a truck with an American flag hanging on the back of it while it's driving off, it's waving in the wind, do you think that may be like a Republican or a Democrat? And then
they have an American flag, you said?
Probably a Republican.
Yeah.
I also think that probably a Republican, and I probably think that I ideologically disagree with him on a lot, even though it's an American flag, not a MAGA flag. Forrest might have a different answer.
Right.
No, I would say it is I would actually say the exact same thing, is that if someone's flying an American flag, they are almost certainly Republican, and they almost certainly disagree with the foundational ideas and the most important parts of America and the flag that they are flying.
Okay. And then when you see like someone burning the American flag, do you think they're Republican or Democrat? If you have
depends.
I actually doubt they're
depends.
a Democrat either. I doubt it's either.
I would say it's more likely that they are left leaning. I would say to play to your to go along with what you're saying, just for the time being, I would say they're probably a Democrat. And I would also say that that's the fact.
Flag burning was a libertarian thing, first of all, and I think that they're still the most likely.
I'm just saying, like, to the point that T is trying to make. To the point that you're trying to make, I think it's more likely to be a Democrat, and I think that the fact that Republicans would be against that thing is also then in favor of what I was saying a minute ago, that they're fundamentally flying that flag for reasons that go against what that flag actually stands for.
Right. Gotcha. Also, when you look at a country, for example, like the United States of America, is it important that we continue on reproducing to have more children so that way we can have a population? Or,
no.
No. Okay.
Not in isolation. There's no future where nobody has children, but we are fine getting a significant portion of our population by immigration. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I also like it. Just I would never say that it's important that we have children so that we have a future population. I'm not in favor of that kind of rhetoric at all, for a lot of reasons.
Right. Okay. Do you guys believe that globally, like in the first world countries, there is an issue with population decline in the
no
in the first world countries?
No.
I
don't see it. So specifically, I don't see declining. I don't see declining birth rates as a problem in the way that you probably do. So like I'm trying to be as fair as I can with what you're asking here, because I really do want to hear what your point is. And so I hope you don't think that I'm being pedantic when I'm trying to answer the question exactly as you asked it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm just being curious. I'm not really.
That's fine.
To be honest with you, I can't say I'm going with an agenda here. I'm just curious to know, what exactly that you guys, believe in. So that way it gives me a better idea of, what we can actually converse about or dispute or what have you.
So I can give you some prompts if you'd like, but I'd rather it would be more fun for us and also the audience to like talk about what you wanted to talk about as a point. If you'd like, I can give you, following along the questions you've asked so far, like a couple of specific things that I think kind of elucidate what I see as a potential difference between us. Would you want to go that route, or do you want to pick a topic instead?
Not a problem. Take the lead.
Okay, sure. So like, for example, when I mentioned like the first thing you asked was, if someone's flying a flag versus burning a flag, like if we accept that dichotomy as presented, then what does that actually say? And I was consistently saying that the person flying the flag is likely flying it for reasons that go beyond what the flag actually stands for. And the person burning the flag, I would say, is probably burning the flag in support of what the flag actually stands for. And what I mean by that, let's say, for example, like, the burning of the flag is freedom of speech. That is the ability to destroy a symbol of a country instead of actually physically hurting anyone or attacking that country. You're destroying a symbol of that country as a form of protected speech. And a Republican, more likely, I'm not saying all Republicans, just like someone MAGA, someone like in your camp, would likely see that as an affront to America, in a way that I, as someone who's very pro free speech, would say, no, that's a wonderful way to express yourself, whether I agree with your message or not. That is a way to express what you're saying, what you're trying to get across, as opposed to somebody who's driving around flying the flag out the back of the truck. Generally speaking, they're probably going to be anti-immigration. They're probably going to be anti-universal healthcare. They're probably going to be anti-social services and other things that actually make this country great. So that's everything I said is like broad speaking generalizations. If you want to pick into them, we can. But that's the generality that I was associating with when you were asking questions about generalities.
I'm curious to know what countries overseas you would most likely see them burning American flags.
I don't know.
Off the top of your head. I'm not, if you don't know, forget it. Don't worry about it.
I hope
would
it's
say
ours.
probably. No, he said overseas. He said what overseas countries would burn an American flag? Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I do know that there are massive anti-Trump protests all over the world right now, especially in like Western Europe. So I would imagine if there was going to be anybody burning an American flag, they'd probably be somewhere in the UK and France and Spain or somewhere like that that's really protesting against Donald Trump. Or maybe somewhere in the West Asia. I guarantee if Palestinians could burn an American flag, they'd probably be doing that. So like there's lots of places that are directly impacted by American policy and American bombs that would probably burn American flags, and there are lots of places that are currently protesting the American government in solidarity with a lot of Americans that would also do the same. So I'm sorry, there isn't a very concise answer. I don't really know how to answer that concisely.
It'd probably be the greater Middle East because they'd actually have access to flags but if you just want to know like which countries hate us the most, I mean, there's
I don't know.
Plenty of those, and there are different reasons. There's hating on the level of being a shitty ally, like you're seeing a lot of anti-American sentiment raise up in like Spain and Sweden and France and places like that right now, where their distaste for us is raising. But if you want to go with like hatred, then you can go to the extremes like Serbia, North Korea.
It's funny. Belarus. I didn't even think just the way my brain works. I didn't even start to think about our enemies as well. Yeah, that would definitely be a thing.
Right. So I'm just curious to know, like, say for instance, someplace like maybe Iraq or Iran, they all gather together and they start burning U.S. flags.
North Korea, Russia, Belarus. Nobody likes us these days.
What do you get?
Our allies don't like us these days.
Right. Would you look at them the same way as you would look at like them burning flags in California, for example?
Why would I?
Would you look
yes and no?
No, I mean, obviously I'd look differently, but it wouldn't mean I would hate them or something, but I'm not going to be reductionist. Yeah. Why would I sit there and go, oh, the guys who are doing it there must be for the same reason over there? Because I don't care about the flag, but the motivation for the action I might care about. And if their motivation for the action is, if one country's motivation for the action is, you guys are imperialist scumbags, with them I would empathize. And if other ones are like, we wish you die because your government's ran by Jews, I would look at them differently. It's clearly the motivation. Right. It's a piece of cloth. Who gives a fuck?
Well, that's all I'm getting at. Is like fundamentally, yes, I would look at them the same way because they're doing the same action for the same reason. They are burning a piece of cloth that represents this country in order to express strong disdain and disagreement with this country. So from that level, yeah. But like the actual like meaning, the nuance, what specifically about this country they are disagreeing with and how far they want to take that ire, that I would, certainly see differently. So there's certainly a difference there, and trying to conflate the two, I don't think would make any sense.
Quick pause real quick though. Real quick pause because I want to address a super chat. Left wafer, it said no proof St. John was embalmed. Absolute slanderer. Incorrect. The proof would actually be that you would actually have had to have requested a specific exemption to be embalmed, to not be embalmed. No such thing existed. And for clergy at that time, embalming was the tradition. But on top of that, he would have been legally required to be embalmed because he was transported from Seattle to San Francisco. So there is both traditional evidence and legal evidence. No exemption is recorded ever being requested. And in fact, it was created out of thin air. Oh, this exhumed body that looks intact. The basis upon which they have said that there was no embalming was they just said it. They made it up. There is no recorded reason to believe there was. that they either broke the law or sought an exemption or any of that. And it would have been very strange had he not been, because again, that was the standard routine also for clergy. So whether you want to take it from a legal side, a traditional side, or the third bit of evidence, which is that if you exhume a body and they look that way, the first thing you should suspect is the embalming. And they have also, nobody has gone and tested them and gone, nope, no embalming fluid here. I believe it's actually the opposite. They have gotten traces of formaldehyde, but because I'm not as confident on that one, I will just rely on the first couple.
Also,
so
nice
to that super
Nazi
chatter,
dog.
You are incorrect.
Also, nice Nazi dog whistle in your handle. Thanks for giving us $2 so that we can continue to spread anti-Nazi sentiment on the internet. You dumb sack of shit.
Is that a Nazi thing? What is it?
It's called Luftwaffe. It sounds like the Luftwaffe or whatever the fuck it's called, right?
Got it.
Yeah.
I just saw. I thought it was a type of food, left wafer.
No, it's supposed to sound like Nazis.
All right.
Sorry,
I don't think you're a Nazi. Probably. I hope. You like Jews? T. You like? I talked about it too much on the podcast. I'll be honest. I've had Jew envy my whole life. Growing up around a lot of Brooklyn Jews, having like unofficial Brooklyn Jew family, those people we called aunt and uncles. I have straight up Jew envy. What about you? You like Jews?
Jew envy.
Yeah, I wish I was raised Jewish instead of Mormon.
Envy. Wow.
No, I'm not asking if you have Jew envy. I would have rather been Jewish than Mormon for sure. I am a little bit ethnically Jewish, but very little.
I'll tell you this.
You like Jews?
You
should really just say yes. Oh man, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I don't have Jew envy.
No, I'm not asking about Jew envy. I just want to know if you like Jews, and the fact that you wanted to do a longer answer made me very anxious.
Oh no problem. I have respect for Jews. I have respect as far as what they've accomplished and achieved. I mean, if you have 100 people in the room, and 1.5 of them are Jewish, and they somehow end up getting 70% of the wealth of a country, that's pretty admirable. I mean...
Well, T, you ruined it for me. You ruined for...
It was fun for a minute.
What happened? What's wrong? What'd I do?
Is it your contention that you believe 70% of American wealth is owned by Jews?
I believe they have a tremendous amount of the wealth in the country, yeah.
And what percentage of Jews have that?
Is that debatable?
70% is pretty debatable.
It's a high number.
Am I completely incorrect?
I think you are, yeah. Wait, so which American Jew do you Jews have this money?
Well, I mean, I don't know about specifics, but let's talk about...
Well, I'm looking up specifics right now, and I cannot find a single thing that supports that they own a disproportionate amount of the American wealth.
Okay, well, no problem. Then you could look at it. You could look this up. Then look at the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is basically an institution that's basically its own power, its own entity. In other words,
what am I looking up? What am I looking up? You said I can look this up.
Well, who's been running the Federal Reserve since the beginning? It's never been a white person. It's never been a black person.
Is it so now Jews aren't white again? We're doing that whole thing.
Yeah.
No. Jews don't consider themselves white. Let me tell you why. Because when Whoopi Goldberg came out on national TV, and she said the Holocaust was white on white crime, the Jews immediately took her off the show, and she had to go through a rehabilitation.
The Jews did it. So, by the way, the answer to your question is that the Fed has always been ran by a board of governors, all famously Jewish. Obviously, we have tons of Jewish governors in this country. 12 regional Federal Reserve banks, and the Federal Open Market Committee.
I think the biggest issue that I have here is what Jimmy pointed out earlier, the question that you didn't answer. He said, so some Jewish people have this much money. What percentage of Jewish people in America have this great control? And you didn't answer that question because fundamentally what you're doing is you're saying some Jewish folks
Okay, I don't
are
know.
in positions
I
of
don't know the exact
power,
percentage.
and you're using that to then bolster up this conspiracy theory that the Jews are in this position of power,
No,
and that's silly as all hell. How many Jewish presidents have we had?
Oh, I've got a better stat. Hey, T, since you brought it up, you said it's always been led by Jews. And look, you are right about one thing. There is technically a chair. There is a chair, and there have been 16 chairs since the Fed was created, since 1914. Out of those 16 chair people, how many of them do you reckon were Jewish? Because you said all of them. You said all of them, that they've always been. So you think all 16, correct?
Right. Yeah. That was a broad statement. Yeah.
Right. And
yeah, you're right.
how many would it have to be for you to go, oh, crap, I think I might have absorbed some anti-Semitic Nazi propaganda? How low would that number have to be for you to go, crap, I think the Nazis might have convinced me of something?
Well, you see.
No. Answer my question. Answer my question. At what number? If the actual answer was this or less?
5.
Great.
5.
Great. And so if it's less than 5, you will admit you fell for Nazi propaganda?
Yes. Yeah,
it's 3.
Sure.
3 of them were Jewish.
Who are they?
They were Eugene Meyer, Alan Greenspan, and Ben Bernanke. The other 13, do you need all 13 names? I'll give you. Charles Hamlin, William Harding, Daniel Kissinger, Roy Young, Mariner Eccles, I don't know how to say that, Thomas McCabe, William McChesney, Martin Jr., Arthur Burns, G. William Miller, Paul Volcker, Janet Yellen, and Jerome Powell, who was a Catholic, by the way.
Janet Yellen and Jerome Powell, who are they?
Catholics, both Catholics.
Janet Yellen and Jerome Powell
are both Catholics.
Are not Jewish people.
They are Catholic by faith. Do you think their ethnicity might matter?
Okay, no problem. All right, no problem.
Are you ready to admit?
We'll just go with now.
So you said you would admit it. I fell for some Nazi propaganda. Could you please?
Yeah, but here, because somebody makes an observation about something, does not mean what?
You said you would admit if it was less than 5 that you fell for Nazi propaganda.
Well, I disagree on Janet Yellen. And Jerome Powell.
They are literally Catholics.
What about Ben Bernanke?
Just to be clear,
I already told you Ben Bernanke was one of the 3 Jews.
Even if we give you those 2 back, that would make the total 5. And you said if it's 5 or less, I will agree that I fell for Nazi propaganda.
I'm sorry, I failed the game show. Okay, no problem. I got it wrong on the game show.
That's not what we want. But that's not what we wanted you to say.
I just want you to
say
admit
the thing you promised you'd say.
Yeah, I just want you to be a man of your word.
Okay, no problem. But at the end of the day, when somebody makes an observation about certain things.
So you're not going to do it? You're not going to do the thing you said?
You promised.
That I've been following anti-Semitic hatred
that
propaganda.
you fell for some Nazi propaganda at the very least when it comes to the Fed.
I fell for it. I fell for Nazi blah blah blah
blah blah blah
hatred propaganda.
So
you can just say Nazi propaganda. Nazi, you fell for some Nazi propaganda.
So, but going back to what we're saying,
you're still not going to say it. You're still not going to say it.
You know what?
The closest we got out of you is I fell for some blah blah blah. That's not what you promised.
The problem is right now that we live in a society, right, where
that is a big problem.
Yeah, anytime that someone says something, whatever that they said, automatically we all want to put that person in a category, in a box, and what have you.
I'm not putting you in a box. You said every single chair of the Fed, head of the Fed, has been Jewish. I asked you, how many would it have to be? How few until you would admit you fell for Nazi propaganda? Not that you're a Nazi, but that somehow it got you, and it happens to all of us at some point. Something gets in us that we didn't mean to, and we find out the source of it is terrible, right?
I've done that.
We've all done it, and that's all we wanted was you to be a man of your word.
In America, of course, I've done it.
Well, Jimmy, here's my issue though. The reason why I'm having an issue with that is the fact that there's a possibility that all the people that you named aren't Catholic. When I say aren't Catholic, would follow the category that I'm mentioning.
So just to be clear, T, your argument now is you don't think you fell for Nazi propaganda because it's possible that they're all secret Jews.
I was going to say the same thing. What if they are those?
Which just to be clear, T, just to be very clear, secret Jews that are secretly in control of things while hiding their Judaism is also Nazi propaganda and rhetoric. Just want to be very clear about that.
Now we're getting further from falling for it to being a part of it. I'm not making the conclusion yet, but man, I wish you liked the Jews. All right. Anyway, go on, T.
This is the bizarre thing, man. It's bizarre. It's like the minute it's like saying, you know what? I wish, black people, or like, I wish more black people would do X, Y, Z. Oh, you're a racist. Oh, you just hate black people. And
Go ahead and finish the statement. What would be an example of one you think that you wish more black people would do?
Well, no, here's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this. It's like the minute somebody says something, we just put them, like, for example, you're like, you listen to Alex Jones? Yeah. Oh, man, you're one of those Alex Jones people. But guess what? I listen to Jimmy Snow. So imagine I went up to some people and Alex Jones people, like, hey, Alex Jones, you listen to Jimmy Snow? Yeah, I listen to Jimmy Snow.
Hey, T, if we rewind the tape, did you reply, yes, I listened to Alex Jones, or did you reply, I'm a big fan of Alex Jones, and then affirm that you and him have a lot of beliefs in common?
Right.
In other words, T, what you're doing is dishonest, because I ask questions to account for what you're describing, and because I listen to Alex Jones too, but I don't listen. I listen.
Jimmy, I listen to you, and I agree with stuff that you say too. So what? I'm a Jimmy psychotic, trans, whatever that the Republicans might call me or something.
All right, now call yourself something equivalent to what you just tried to like straw man out of me. Now describe what a fan of Alex Jones would be like. If being my fan would make you a psychotic, trans, whatever, what would being a fan of Alex Jones make you?
Alex Jones will be turns the frogs gay. Conspiracy theorist.
Cool.
JFK.
T, by the way, you kind of defended the frogs being gay, if I remember right. So I think you are the frogs are turning gay conspiracy theorist. You wanted to talk.
Here's the thing. Guys, listen. Once again, we're in a dangerous part of our society now where when people try to communicate with people who may not fully agree or understand their point or perspective, we just put them in a category. So in other words,
if I send you a shirt, will you wear it?
Oh, let me just put them in this shoebox right here.
Do you wear a MAGA hat ever?
No, I never wore a MAGA hat.
Do you ever wear any clothes that are MAGA affirming, like a shirt that's like I'm with Trump or anything?
And I wish you would ask me why.
No. I might in a minute. What about a bumper sticker? Do you got any bumper stickers? Do you publicly display your support of Trump at all? Bumper stickers, anything like that?
No.
If I send you a T-shirt, will you wear it?
A Trump T-shirt?
No. Something from the line. It might be Zerba. It might be the Lines logo that everybody loves so much. Or if you see the shirt I'm wearing right now, I'm wearing a chewed gum shirt. I'll send you one if you'll wear it. If you promise me you'll wear it, I will have the screener get your email address, and I'll email you a code so you can get one for free if you promise to wear it.
And to be honest with you, I'm not too thing with the chat app. I just see a bunch of text on the screen, and I don't really see your shirt. I think you're wearing something black
with a pink logo that says the word chewed gum.
Give me a second. I'm seeing the chat.
I want to know, like, is it actually possible for Jimmy Snow to chew those chips louder into his microphone while he's talking?
I had him muted. Sorry.
There we go. That's better. That's what the show needed.
That's my bad. I have to snack for health reasons for my meds. Okay. Do you see my shirt? If I send you this shirt, will you wear it?
I would consider it, but like I said, I'm trying to actually see what it looks like.
You have to promise me you'll wear it before I'll send it.
Oh, I can't promise you that I wear it.
Come on, I'll send you a free shirt, dude. I want to prove that you're a fan.
On. But I can't really see what I'm gonna. I don't know. You know, I can't see the whole shirt. Let's put it that way.
You can pick your own.
It just says chewed gum.
You can just pick off. If you send him the code, pick.
All right,
he can pick a free shirt if you send him the. Girl, look at that body.
But there you go. There's the shirt. It might be like 5 seconds behind on your end. Just says chewed gum. It's our Tuesday show that's called Chewed Gum, where women take questions about deconstructing from religion and stuff. And the idea is like in church you hear that you're not as worthy because you're kind of like chewed gum. You're like, why would anybody want you? You're already chewed gum. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever made you feel like a slut, T?
In a bad way.
Has anybody? Yeah, I mean, I we all, a lot of us had trouble past when we were younger, especially when you're.
So if you feel like it was wrong to be slut shamed, this shirt is for you anyway. Because it's like, the idea is like, I'm not just chewed gum, right? It doesn't matter that I've had sex with however many people. That doesn't make you chewed gum because people aren't gum.
I got you.
Yeah.
Would you wear it if I send it to you?
I appreciate it. But going back to what I was
saying. Wait. Will you wear it if I send it to you? If I send it to you, will you wear it?
I appreciate it, Jimmy, though.
Oh,
I appreciate
man.
it, though, Jimmy, but I'm good for now.
I have two things that are actually back on topic, T. So I think you'll appreciate. First of all, when you were making the caricature of people on that listen to the line, and Jimmy was asking you, can you make a caricature of people listening to Donald Trump? Jimmy, I believe it was, summarized what you said as you describe people on the line as psychotic, trans, whatever. I vote that's what we now call our fan base is the Game Grumps have the lovelies and everybody kind of names their fan base. We could have the psychotic trans whatevers. That's the people who watch the line. The second thing is the argument that you were making there, T. Yeah, the argument that you were making there, T, is we were pointing out the fact that the rhetoric you were using was going beyond I fell for some bullshit and into actual Nazi conspiracy theory. And your argument in response to that was we have this problem in society where when somebody says something, we just want to label them. And it sounded like you were very scared to be labeled as a Nazi because you were saying Nazi shit, which is something very common that I hear from MAGA supporters in particular, but from the right in general, but especially from MAGA, is I said this racist shit, this Nazi shit, but don't call me a Nazi about it.
I'll be right back. I gotta pee.
That sounds fine.
Okay. Well, can I ask? Oh, I'm sorry. Hello?
No, you're fine. It's just I wanted to follow that up with, but go ahead and ask me your question, and I have a question for you that is based on that.
No problem. Okay. Now, if I ask you, in basketball, is there any particular group? Let's say I'm gonna be more conservative. Say with in the '90s. That that did better than other groups in basketball? As far as ethnicity,
I'm not copying, Yeah, I'm not copping out of this answer. I genuinely don't know jack shit about sports. I'm assuming that you're trying to say that there are more black people playing basketball. Is that what you're getting at?
Right. So imagine for a second, right? You as a white person says, man, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Wilt Chamberlain, and you just name off all these athletes, right, that do very well in basketball, and they so happen to be black. And then when you look at the screen on your TV, on your monitor, and whatever, and you're watching a basketball game, and you see a whole bunch of tall black guys playing basketball. And then imagine for a second you come to the conclusion like, wow, look like black people dominating the sport of basketball. And then somebody comes up to you, oh, you freaking racist. Oh, you just like this like reverse Nazi hater. And it's like, whoa, what's going on here? I just made an observation. That's all.
So
you know what I mean?
So the issue is like, I as somebody who doesn't know anything about sports or whatever, I might look at that and say such a thing. But then also I could then look into it and draw some conclusions about there's actually this population tends to have, that they're taller or whatever. And like, really it's the height that we're going for. And when I look at all of these people that are playing basketball, regardless of their ethnicity, they're all absurdly tall, and that seems to actually be the metric. And now I can look at like racial groups, so-called racial groups or ethnic groups that are exhibiting those traits more. And so like, yeah, so I can dig into that and learn something about it.
Right.
I would posit the same to you. Let me ask you the same question in reverse, like just to say a negative stereotype. If somebody, like, here's something that I've heard in my career plenty of time. People have said this to me because I have strong anti-racist views, and I make a lot of claims where I talk on the show and I talk about how stupid racists are, and I get people sending me shit all the time. And one of the more common things that I hear is this dumbass statistic that black people account for like 13% of the population, and yet they're like 50% of violent crime. Have you heard that shit before?
I lived it.
Okay, so you've heard this rhetoric. What would you call someone? What would you call someone who uses that rhetoric?
I would call them someone that's most likely being observant.
Okay, I would call them a racist. And the reason is because...
Okay, go ahead.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, T, is that I would call that person a racist for the exact same reason as what we just talked about with basketball, where I can make this observation, wow, there's a lot of black people here. And then if I want to be intelligent about it, I can then dig into this and be like, okay, here's what's going on. They're actually very tall. Here's this population. I can now pull this out. If I'm looking at this, percentage disparity in violent crime, and I look at this statistic, I find actually it's not who's committing more violent crime. It's who's arrested for violent crime more often. And another way that black people lead every other racial category is black people are exonerated way more often than any other racial group, because stupid racist cops who believe stupid racist things like that 1350 statistic, they then arrest them, falsely accuse them and arrest them unjustifiably and throw them in jail for violent crimes they didn't commit way more often than every other racial group. And so if someone's throwing around that statistic as if it means something without digging into the actual data and learning what's actually going on there, I would then say either this person is racist or they have been fooled by racist propaganda. Similarly with you, you are spreading or were spreading Nazi propaganda. I'm not calling you a Nazi. I'm saying you're saying Nazi shit. And it appears that you have been very heavily swayed by Nazi talking points. And so your whole scathing screed here about how this problem with society is, we like to label people. So yeah, sure, we generalize people. Why not? But at the end of the day, what you are saying about Jewish people and now about black people is wrong, and it's wrong both like just from a plain on its face, and also if you dig into the statistics and learn some shit about it, it's wrong. And it tells you nothing about historical context, social context, political context, any of that stuff that also really matters. And that's what racism does.
What did I miss? What did he say about black people?
He told me that I brought up, so just a quick recap is because I don't want to, T's been here for the whole conversation. He's been very polite listening to me talk here. So I don't want to say too much, but like I brought up, what would you say to somebody who said that dumb statistic about 13% of the population is black and they make up 50% of the violent crime? T said I would call that person observant and I would probably like that person. I pointed out that black people are arrested for violent crime more often than anybody else, not that they commit it, and that they are also exonerated of crimes more often than anybody else because they don't actually commit 50% of the violent crime. That's just wrong. And so the point is, you can be bought into racist propaganda, like the whole thing about Jews controlling the Federal Reserve, whatever else. You can buy into that propaganda accidentally because you didn't look into it. The point is to correct yourself. If you lean into it hard and decide that it's right and keep leaning into it and keep believing it and keep buying it and keep doing it, then you run the risk of me calling you a Nazi or a race or whatever like that. That's the whole point I'm trying to get to, T, is that we're pointing out the fact that you were spreading Nazi propaganda and you promised you'd admit it and then you didn't. We're not calling you a Nazi. We're saying you're saying Nazi shit. And now you also just said racist shit as well, by the way.
Okay, now understand this. You as a white person, me as a black person,
yes,
growing up amongst my people, growing up poor amongst my people, okay, growing up where for miles around, all I see is my people. Understand this. When you're a black person or a black family and you're raised or growing up in a black area, especially an impoverished area, I'm going to say specifically in an impoverished area, the number one goal is to do what you can to get out of that area. Now, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but at the end of the day, it's very interesting that I would talk to other black people and they would get offended when I would say things that they would consider to be racist. But funny enough, when I go to their house or I ask them to look at their neighbors aren't black.
But the point is, the greater point that you're making doesn't actually change much, though, because what you're describing is an association between poverty and crime, which is not that association is race blind. If you go to poor white neighborhoods, and this is the point, you have lots of poor white neighborhoods and you have poor black neighborhoods. Crime is happening at roughly the same rate in both, and yet the black neighborhoods are being over-policed. Also, which kinds of laws are broken, are disproportionately policed to black people, even though there are plenty of rich people. Rich people don't go to fucking jail for a little bit of weed. They don't even get their night ruined for a little bit of weed. Cop usually just says, all right, well, I got to take this, or be on your way, or let's not pull them over in the first fucking place. So what you're describing, yes, there's a well-known poverty and crime they are associated with each other. And also where that crime comes from, or where that poverty comes from, rather, and why people have to resort to crime are a big part of that element, too. It's kind of like when you see people on Reddit and there's that whole thing of by the way, if you ever see somebody steal food, no, you didn't. You're the problem if you call the police because you saw somebody steal food. It's that fucking shit. I literally watched a video yesterday of a poor special needs white kid, but with special needs and poor, and so also is going to quote unquote resort to crime, who was arrested. His crime was that over the course of his 90 days of employment, he stole an average worth of a dollar's worth of chicken and fruit cups that they were throwing out from the deli counter. And so they arrested him for it. There's a correlation between poverty and crime because people have to eat. And yes, some people have that attitude of I got to do what I got to do to get out of this thing. But to say that's like a black thing is crazy, and that it's even poor people's quote unquote fault is also crazy.
You've been very polite, and I don't want to continue to steamroll, but I think it's really important just to add just a little bit more context if you're cool with it. What I think is really key here, you mentioned in what you're talking about earlier that black people want to get out of these communities, right? Because historically they have been forced into the position that they're in. They've been forced into this community. They've been driven out of every other community and placed in this place that is severe economic I don't know what I'm trying to say, low economic opportunity and severely high over policed. For example, here where I live in Tulsa, North Tulsa is 99% black, whereas the rest of Tulsa is about the average rate of the rest of the country, if not a little bit less. Because back in 1921, we had a race massacre. We forced everybody way up there. And now I lived in North Tulsa for a little while. There's a fucking cop on every corner pulling you over for no goddamn reason everywhere. And the rest of Tulsa is different. And because you have population, you have people plus density minus opportunity equals crime. And so you have this place with low economic opportunity and nowhere where to go. It's a food desert. You can't get fresh food anywhere. You can't get a job anywhere. And there's a lot of people up there. And so crime happens. It's something you can see all over the place. It doesn't have to necessarily be a racial thing. It is just about poverty. The second thing that
actually, if I can put a note before you hit your second thing, I can add a racial element to it. There is a difference, though. If I, who also grew up as a poor white, if I, as a poor white, want to get out and I do, I pull myself up by my bootstraps and I make it out, I don't run into a red line because there's not a race of people in power who don't also want. So I, as a poor white person, want to get out of poverty, and other white people are like, look at him try. That's fun. We'll let him join the club. Whereas a black person may hit the white people who drew literal red lines to go, get back in there. Or what, you think you belong here? The fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, I grew up on food stamps. I pulled myself out of poverty, and I didn't have that issue. And that's the whole issue about what we call about privilege. But what I was saying is you don't necessarily have to apply a race aspect to it in order to understand the concept. I just don't want to get caught on that. The second thing that was important. Fuck. God damn you, Jimmy Snow. That was a good thing to point out there, and I missed the second point. I'll get back to it later. T, we've been talking for a while. You respond to that, and I'll get back to the second thing later on.
Yeah, go for it, T.
Sure. So, in my opinion, I think that is one of the reasons why Black people overall at this point are struggling today. Because we refuse to really look directly at what is the problem, and we just point other directions and have excuses and, have like, oh, it's not my fault. It's because
T, what about when it literally isn't their fault? What if it is that you were born into a place where education is the number one way out of poverty, and education is funded by property taxes, and Black neighborhoods have low amounts of property taxes because they're mostly rent controlled and because the places are kept artificially low. And so you actually don't have access to as good of education. You're sitting there and going, there's excuses and there's reasons. There's excuses and there's valid excuses. And if it's literally working against you, T, people right now who join the military are not having their GI Bill paid out if they are Black versus a white person. Redlining, that discrimination stuff is happening now at higher levels.
That's the issue I'm having. It's like it really is just between this rock and this hard place where it's like you're a poor Black person, you're born into poverty, you're born in this shitty neighborhood where for whatever reason we want to say, we can talk about the documented history of historical racism that has forced this community to be this way. Whatever. You're born in this situation. You have a choice now. If you somehow magically you're able to so-called pull yourself up by your bootstraps and somehow or another you get yourself out of there, well, now people are going to come along and point at you and say, see, you can do it, so all these other people are just making excuses. They shouldn't do it. They shouldn't complain about it. They could just be like you. And then if you don't do that, if you just try to live the way that the society has forced you to do, you're now pointing to these, rare statistics, and it just doesn't make any fucking sense. I think what's really important also is, something you said earlier. You were talking about what did you say about looting or something about violence? I forgot what it was. Public perception is really important in this case. There was a really good video that I saw a little while ago about like during Katrina and other natural disasters where you have these Black neighborhoods and these Black people are going out and taking food from a grocery store that's shut down because the whole neighborhood's flooded, everything's destroyed, and they go and take a bunch of food. And if you talk to these people, they say, yes, I'm getting a shit ton of food. I'm bringing it back to my neighborhood so I can share it with everybody there and make sure nobody dies because nobody has access to food. So I get a bunch of bread and I'm bringing it there. And if you look at the news, it's these violent, crazy people looting and rioting and destroying. And this is, they're opportunistic. They're just stealing. It's all about public perception. And once again, it sounds like you are buying in to this sensationalist kind of, I hate to keep using the word propaganda because I understand it's dismissive, but it sounds like you're buying into this rhetoric that these people are just stupid, ignorant, lazy, just opportunistic, whatever, rather than saying, here are people who have been pushed to the edge of society over and over and over. The second they started to get their own wealth, we burned it to the ground. 400 years, we stole everything they had, every bit of wealth that they earned, every bit of produce that they produced, their children alone. Like, we took every fucking thing from them. And then we started to let them have a little bit of opportunity. And like Jimmy pointed out, we drew red lines. We said, all right, you're not enslaved anymore, but you don't get this job, and you don't get to live in this neighborhood, and you don't get to be here, and you don't get to do this. You don't get to have any kind of vote. You don't get to have any opportunity.
The big one.
You don't have education. Like, we don't let you do it. And then they finally come out of that and they start to build some sort of wealth in Greenwood and other places, and we burn it to the ground. We drop bombs out of planes, destroying every bit of wealth. And so for fucking hundreds of years of monopoly running over and over and over, every single time you play the game, I take everything you have and kick you in the teeth. And then now, so randomly, I say just roll the dice better, play the game better. And why are you doing? Quit fucking around. It doesn't make any sense. And I get mad at you every time you try to change the game or get out of the game or cheat the game because you can't fucking win. It's ridiculous. And it sounds like you're just buying into this very simplistic, easy narrative of, well, these people just need to work harder and be better, rather than looking at what's actually going on with them, which you should be doing as somebody who's fucking, you say you've been through it. How do you not have compassion for yourself in that? How are you using the same talking points that are used to oppress you to fucking justify? Like, what's going on with that, man? That sucks.
Well, listen, could there be a possibility? There's a small possibility that me being as an Black African American who spent, 50 years on the planet might have a little bit more insight about this topic.
You have your personal experience.
Sure.
No one's denying you that.
T, your personal experience, sure, but you're asking us if you have more insight than it's not. I'm not repeating to you my words. I'm repeating to you data and the insights of Black professors and Black theorists. We're not talking about. This isn't stuff I came up with based on I grew up and here is what I saw. And by the way, your 50 years will not explain, even if you're sitting going, I've heard a Black person say this, and I heard my family repeat religious concepts that seem natural to them and just the way things are, but are from generations of people and have a cause that come from before us too. So of course your personal experience is your personal experience, but what your explanation of it is doesn't overwhelm the data. Look, I don't feel good about being here as a white guy trying to explain Black issues to a Black guy. The optics of that's fucking awful.
Right.
Right?
I'm not trying to tell you how to be a better Black man. I'm just saying what you're repeating is the exact talking points that are used to justify the horrible way that you have been treated. And so
if Candace Owens was here, I'd tell her she was a white supremacist, just not herself white. Like that's just what it would happen. Yeah. Can you and I agree? T, can you and I agree that Kanye was totally out of line when he said slavery was a choice?
I didn't look deeply into what he actually meant as far as slavery was a choice, because I think someone mentioned to me that he's still thinking in a way that we're still slaves. And then till this day, now we have a choice to get out of the rat race slavery.
Okay, but his clarification was basically that it went on for so long because Black people basically let it happen, that if they really wanted out of slavery, they could have freed themselves. Do you believe that's true, or do you think that was messed up?
Well, I mean, in Haiti, they did have a revolution, and they did get their independence.
And there were slave uprisings here in the U.S. as well that were crushed.
Also, isn't Haiti currently under occupation?
Well, Haiti's right now, it's like what do you call that? A failed state at this point. But they did get their independence, and I think they're probably one of the few Black countries, if not the only one, that actually fought and got their independence through fighting rather than being given to them. Because I think Jamaica, all the other countries, at least in the Caribbean, were eventually they're like, okay, well, here you go. But the Haitian people actually fought for it and actually gained their independence.
No, okay, yeah, it's stuff right now is fragile because of all the natural disasters going on. But no, it's not under occupation.
Here's the problem. I really genuinely appreciate, and I mean this, I really genuinely appreciate how much you're letting us kind of ramble on it, because I know it's 2 against 1 and all this stuff, and you're being you're most
thing to warm the discussion, in my opinion. I'm not really
I think we are.
Guys.
I think we are.
You have a lot to share.
I think we are having a discussion, and most of the time, and most of the time you're answering directly, and I get how weird that is. I really sincerely appreciate the time and effort you're giving this. I mean that. I want to start with that. What bothers me and what really fucking frustrates me, and Jimmy's right, the optics, I'm not trying to be a white guy telling you how to be a better Black person or anything like that. I think the same things that you are saying about the Black community here, it is the exact same kind of thinking and the exact same kind of rhetoric that you were using a minute ago about the Jewish community. And what bugs me, what drives me fucking crazy is, as Jimmy pointed out, this is not just like our feel-good liberal opinions, right? We're giving you stuff that's backed on like data and evidence. Where we're giving you stuff that's backed on like data and evidence. And like what I pointed out a minute ago, like speaking just to the black community, like you've got generations upon generations of trauma and violence now leading up to a point where you're looking at this with none of that context involved and just saying, hey, this person isn't doing as well, they should work more, as if that's reasonable. And then you're also sitting here saying that, you know, the 1350 statistics, which is, as I pointed out, not accurate, not reliable, not actually serious data, and also is used to make prejudgments and prejudiced ideas against you specifically. And you say that anybody who says that is probably a good person that you would like, and I think they're very observant and everything, when that is racist propaganda. And then you talk about, you know, oh, well, Jews run the this and that, and they have all the wealth, all that stuff, when that is Nazi propaganda. You are falling victim, and this is what bugs me so much. You are falling victim to talking points that are used to oppress not just you, but so many other people around the world for the benefit of specifically only people like me. And that bugs the hell out of me, dude, because I am so passionately against that shit that it sucks to see anybody say it, but especially when you are going to take this position. And I'm not saying, you know, you as a black person can't say this and that. I'm saying when you take the position that you did about like, well, I see my community doing this and this, and then you play right into that same shit that I know for sure because I have experience with it. People like me turn around and say against you, you're doing the work for them. And that sucks. And I wish that you would at least take seriously the fact that this is grossly oversimplified, contextless, meaningless noise that is only ever used to hurt people. It is never, ever used to benefit anybody seriously, except for the racist assholes that spread those lies. Like, do you at least get where I'm coming from with that?
Can I go ahead and clarify a couple of things?
Please.
By no means am I not saying that black people have a disadvantage as far as a lot of things in our society and culture. Now, what I am saying, though, is that when we kind of like don't look at the problem head on, so in other words, it's like saying you got diagnosed, the doctor knows you have cancer, but he doesn't tell you. You kind of like, well, do I have cancer? No, well, no, it's something else, man. It's, you know, it's just that you're just eating, you know, too much potato chips or whatever and X, Y, Z. The person's going to die of cancer. Now, the doctor's going to say, well, these
oversimplified metaphors don't work, T, because at the end of the day, it's not that we're not telling a community they have cancer. It's that it's like, hey, you have a cancer. We put it there and we're going to treat it with diabetes. And we're going to treat it with we're going to give you Lyme disease to treat your cancer. We're going to, oh, you got rid of the cancer? Here's 6 more. And the main reason why, look, it is the optics are whatever they are. The reason I have no problem hearing you say this and then rebutting them is because while it's coming out of your voice, the words are coming from people of my pigment. You're talking my people's racist language out of your voice. And I guarantee you're making their day so much better because it's better coming out from you than them.
Right. He mentioned that hurtful. Now, sometimes the truth or facts hurt, and don't get angry or try not to get angry when I'm saying these things. But I just want to let you know. I just want to share a little, you know, little information about black people that you may not know about, or you guys may not understand.
And maybe we do, and maybe we will be skeptical of whatever you're about to tell us, for the record, because you've never been great at telling us things as they actually are. So when you tell us, go ahead, but don't expect that we're going to just take your word for it.
Okay. The issue right now not right now, the problem that black overall is struggling with is having a father in the home. So what happens is that there's a whole bunch of children In our
T,
society,
can we
that
skip
does
it if we
not
already
have
tell you?
established
Do we have to
figure.
do the long explanation if we can already tell you that we've already heard all of this? Because we have. I've heard Matt Walsh's version of it. I've heard it's again, you're still repeating my people's points. And even if you can even if you can sit and go, these one parent homes are putting people at a disadvantage, financial responsibility, all of those things, we're still going to make the whole intersectional argument about where that problem comes from in the first place and where systemically it came from in the first place. And I got to tell you, it's going to once again have to do with skin you can see veins through.
Yeah. Like that's the thing is like if black men are disproportionately murdered by police, if they are disproportionately imprisoned for things they didn't do, when they do commit a crime at the exact same rate as white people, they are imprisoned for much longer than white people ever are. If they have no opportunities in terms of jobs, they have no opportunities in terms of education, and then all of a sudden we turn around and after we have, and I say we, I mean the white supremacist fucking power authority in America. When America has removed all of these black men from the home, we then blame the black men for not being in the home. Again, T, you are putting the blame on the victim for being victimized and for the consequences of their victimization.
I just want to say this. When an individual has 3 to 4 kids with 3 to 4 different women. I don't know if you ever heard the word a baby mama or baby daddy.
I have.
Why are we talking about Donald Trump? Wait, why are we talking about Donald Trump?
That was going to be exactly what I asked next.
Prolific black man Donald Trump. By the way, just so you know, the thing that you are describing is also mostly a myth. It's based on a number that 70% of black children are born fatherless, but they aren't. They're just not born into marital homes. And that the overwhelming data is that black men are still present in their kids' lives. And what discrepancies there are can all be explained by exactly what Forrest all explained to you, the things about over-incarceration and such.
When you're a father of 3 to 4 different kids with 3 to 4 different women,
like Trump,
it's kind of hard to be in the home for all
like
of
Trump
them when they really need you.
Being in the home and being present in a child's life is not the same thing. But again, like Trump. So we at least agree that Trump is failing as a father, right?
I don't know about you, but here's the point. My point is this.
I can think of at least 3 mothers and multiple, and those are just the kids we know about.
But the issue is that you have these single mothers raising their children, and what happens is that they're under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. And
a lot of economic pressure and social pressure and economic. Let's define what these are and then remember where those come from also.
So basically, when they're raising their child, the child is not really in a healthy environment. And the mother actually becomes very hostile towards the children. So the children grow up with hostility that they learn from their mom. Boys learn violence from their mother.
You are generalizing cliches. You are absolutely generalizing cliches. You are, as he already mentioned before, right now, I'm surprised Fox News, if you've been getting calls while we've been talking, Fox News is trying to hire you to put out their racist talking points.
Listen, I'm telling you.
And sexist. Now you've been able to hit sexism.
What happened?
And now you've been able to hit sexism. It's fun. Forrest and I being here as white men having to stand up for black women.
We got to make these changes with these category things. Oh, you're a sexism. You want to put everybody in a box.
We're back to the thing that I said earlier.
I tend to identify people by the labels they pick up.
How am I sexist now? Oh, how is my comment sexist?
Because you are generalizing a cliche and using basically pseudo backseat psychiatry that you are incorrect about to diminish the concept of black women who you are saying are responsible for the violence of black men that you believe is more systemic than it actually is. You just blamed black women for male violence. You blamed them. You already victim blamed black people in general. And now you are saying that the violence of black men comes from their single mothers.
Yeah.
Who disciplines the child if the father's not there?
Again, as we already pointed out, it is mostly a myth that black fathers aren't a part of their parents' lives any more than any other. Yes, there are people who aren't fathers who aren't a part, but it is mostly a myth that it is that black men are disproportionately missing from their parents' lives, except for, again, when the exceptions are over incarceration, over policing, and the other things that black communities face that whites don't.
Well, the thing is, could it be a possibility that people are looking at a bunch of numbers on sheets of paper or on a TV screen, but not actually seeing what's actually going on in reality?
Sir, it's hard to hear this. It's hard to hear. It's hard to hear what is essentially the implication, which is that how come you as a white person are doubting my black words, except that's not what's happening. I'm doubting your black voice as you regurgitate white words. You are regurgitating Charlie Kirk and you are regurgitating Matt Walsh. So the like identity politics thing that you're trying to like kind of hide behind right now as you try to imply like, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow, indeed. Sir, you're the one who said black women are why black men are violent, why their black sons are violent. I mean, I don't think you want to sit here and act flabbergasted that I would invoke that you're doing identity politic bullshit.
Yeah,
Well,
I grew up like I don't know, man. It's just I grew up in a household with a single parent that was very violent, and it was my mom. And like the metrics you're giving me, I grew up on food stamps. I didn't have my dad was around, but not that much. I had a lot of violence in the household. I was in an impoverished area. I grew up in poverty myself. And yet you wouldn't treat me these way. You wouldn't use these things to then like make these excuses. You are only bringing all this bullshit up to try to then pathologize like the black experience as a whole. And that's weird to me. That's what we're trying to get across is you are just making excuses for like a systemic condition, something that's been going on for a very long time, to try to just hand wave all these issues away and just victim blame the people who are experiencing this shit in a way that you wouldn't do for me or any other racial group, because it is white supremacist talking points that have been very prolific and very well spread, because 70% of the population is white and is willing to buy into that shit, and it spreads really fucking well. It's a lot better than looking at the hard truths about our society. And so you're calling these hard truths about your race, and that's insane to me.
I got about, I'd say a little bit less than 100 black people that I interact with very often. How many black people, I'm just curious, how many black people you guys interact with on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, hang on. Let me get out my phone so I can count them up. Well,
But I have this many black friends.
Yeah, I streamed with one yesterday. Am I not racist now? He even once said on air he doesn't think I'm racist, so I must not be, right? I've hired multiple at my company. This is such a silly argument, because again, you're now trying to retreat into fallacies with its implication. I will argue back fallaciously with you. T, how's your relationship with your father?
Good overall.
Oh, well, then your father is a part of your life, so this isn't a black systemic issue because you break the mold, and therefore I can broadly generalize that black men are present in the home. Somehow I have a feeling you'll understand why that was a fallacious argument and yet not realize that you've basically made those arguments.
I just want to share this with you.
Uh-huh.
Most of my friends that was raised by single moms.
Okay.
Most of my friends.
Raised by single mom doesn't also mean was raised without a father, that the father was completely absent. Those are different concepts.
No, wait a minute, say it again, one more time.
Raised by a single mother does not mean that you don't have a relationship with your father. It means that your mother had custody and you lived with her.
I was raised by a single mom, and I had a great relationship with my dad.
I'll tell you this. My, a lot of my colleagues and friends, they don't have a good relationship with their father.
Cool. Hey, Forrest, real quick. How did your mother feel about your father?
Bad.
And so hang on, T. Forrest was raised by a single mother who resented his father. Why is Forrest not violent?
No,
My mother was also
I'm not saying
extremely violent to me growing up, so I learned a lot of violence from her. Why am I not violent?
Well, by no means. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. I'm just saying that a lot of times these violence that men do onto women is because they experience it through another woman that they call their mother.
And we're saying you haven't demonstrated that at all, and that most of the things that you are popping up are myths, and where discrepancies can be presented, there's actually a pretty good explanation for them. Why poverty exists in Black communities, why violence appears more often, all those things that have nothing to do with they learned it from their mothers. I'm the least.
Guys,
I'm,
this conversation.
go on.
This conversation is kind of bizarre.
I agree.
Here I am as an African Black man. I'm telling you how things are, and you're like, "Well, this."
No. You're not telling me how things are. You're telling me how white supremacists reckon things are. That's what's bizarre. It's bizarre to be talking to a Black man who, listening to him say the same phrases to me that white people who claim to be white supremacists say. I'm not even talking about Charlie Kirk and Matt Walsh. They'll pretend they're not. People will call in white people who are white supremacists who believe in cultural segregation and make the exact same points as you. So I agree. Yep. This conversation's whack. Go ahead and take your last. Go ahead. You can have the last point here. Whatever. Yeah. Go ahead, and then we're gonna go ahead and move on. So, it's been over an hour.
Yeah. So anyway, at the end of the day, it's important that when we talk to each other, whether we agree or not disagree, but the best way for conversations to not really follow through or open up or evolve or to make changes, or somebody like listening to what somebody else is saying and say, wow, you know what, let me think about that a little bit. That's interesting. The best way to shut down intellectual dialogue is by putting people in boxes.
All right. Thanks, T. I'm probably gonna end up giving your shirt away to a different chatter. T, you can't have unlimited last words. Last words is always, it's brief. Thank you, T.
No problem. Hey, it was a pleasure, guys. It was a pleasure. And
have a good one.
For the record, I'm not anti-Semitic. And you may have felt that my comment was Nazism, what have you not.
Yeah.
It's not coming from an anti-Semitic stance.
Right. It just sounds exactly like it, but it's different. I got it. All right. Thank you, T.
You are saying you're not a Nazi. You're just saying things that Nazis say. I get it.
Right. We go to the same bar, me and the Nazis.
That white supremacists say. So it's like, what the hell? Once again, like I said,
T. What the hell? I agree. What the hell?
What the hell is the whole point? Is how is this happening, and why do you not like why?
T, if I make a what the hell shirt, I'm sending you that one, whether you wear it or not. Thank you, T. We'll see you later.
What have you not? All right, bro.
What have you not? That's right. What have you not? See ya. People in the comments. That's funny. At least he's got a good humor about that.
Yeah.
Hey, people, let's see if we hit it. So right now we got 8 of the 10. I had put a time limit on it, but I understand I didn't actually get a chance to say it. If we go ahead and get 2 more super chats of $10 or more, I will give away the shirt I was going to give to T. We'll use the call system. We'll open it up, and whatever X number of caller according to a die roll will be the one who wins it. And you do have to call in with a regular number. Yeah, web caller would be cheating, I feel like, too much. But we need 2 more $10 super chats in, let's say, the next couple minutes. By it's 7:57, so by 8 o'clock, and I will give you it looks like right now the poll is in chat. They want us to give away a chewed gum shirt. So as long as that doesn't change, it'll be chewed gum. If in that same period of time it changes to Zerba, we'll give Zerba. But we've got a couple more minutes, and we do have a couple more calls. Do you have the time for all of that? Do you have time?
Yeah, I can hang out for a little bit longer.
Cool. We'll give it a minute just to get these last soups in, but we need 2 more. There we go. That's 1. And I wish it would let me extend the goal.
Thanks, Dan, in the chat.
More easily.
Thanks, Jax. We now have enough. That's enough. Don't give this motherfucker any more money.
Don't give him more. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Callers who are waiting on hold, keep waiting on hold. I'm going to suspend new calls for a moment, and what I'm going to do Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Jax. Let me see if there's anything in these that I want to read out to see what people had. We had Free the Shirt. In Zerba, we derp. Yes, I'm making fetch happen. Let's see. I voted for the chewed gum shirt. The psychological benefits of reparations alone of trying to right the wrong are a good argument for the policy. Here's a $5 one. T, the difference between what Forrest said and what you said is that nobody is saying that Larry Bird is secretly a black guy. Can you imagine? Yeah, if that was the level of conspiracy. It's like, we had someone say psychotic trans checking in. Psychological benefits of reparations alone of trying to right the wrong are a good argument for the policy. Yeah, and people like anyone who's serious about reparations, I've not heard many of them who want just like a one-time payout. What they want is their communities repaired and access to education and housing and small business loans and all that kind of shit. That's where you start.
I would love to hear T talk to Jovan specifically, because Jovan also has that political background as well.
Did he?
Oh, great.
Was Jovan on one of the times? I think that was his third call. But if not, T, call back and you and Jovan decide if I was racist for explaining white supremacy to you. Let's see. I'm very aware that Forrest has done 8.5-hour shows. That doesn't mean he doesn't have homework to do tonight.
And I do.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to respect time. So it looks like that's 8 o'clock. We have it. We're going to be giving away a chewed gum shirt. I'm going to go ahead and create a link for it. And then here's how it's going to work. I'm going to open up multiple lines and I'm going to roll a die, a D10 here in a second, and we'll decide what number it will be. Whoever calls with that slot will win the shirt. So get the dialers ready. If you're interested, we'll bring you on. We'll ask you your name, let you know you got it. Then you'll stay on hold and our call screener will get an email address from you. And we will send you a link that basically the shirt, everything will be paid for when you do it. It'll be free shipping, all that shit. You just hit the link and you get one for free. So we're doing a chewed gum shirt. And let's go ahead and roll a D10. Does that still work on Siri?
I didn't get.
Roll a 10-sided die. Pick a random number from 1 to 10. Jesus Christ, this used to work. I got 9. So I actually have to open up to 11 lines, I guess it would be. Update settings. That way the final one that comes in, because there's 2 on hold right now. So get ready. 336-543-210. And if you get a busy signal, that means you're past the 9th caller, so it won't be you. And if you don't get a busy signal, wait on hold to find out if you were the 9th caller. We are going to go ahead and open that. As soon as the clock hits 8:02, which might be super soon. I don't actually know. As soon as it hits 8:02, I'm going to do it. So that's when you want it. There it is. I'm hitting it. I'm opening the lines. And now you want to call 33654-321-01. And we've got some calls coming in, but we haven't gotten there yet. Ooh, it's very exciting. I think some people called a little early because apparently we put out like 32 busy signals suddenly. Looks like a bunch of people are getting the auto screener. Is that it? Yes, that's it. Okay, caller from the 920
Chris Johnson.
Hello. No. You don't. It's you're on with us now. You don't have to tell the thing. Caller from 902. Chris, is that what your name was?
Yes.
Hey, you are on the line with Jimmy and Forrest, and you have won the chewed gum shirt. Isn't that exciting?
Wow. Nice.
Easy. We're just curious. It's fine if not, but by chance, were you one of the people who super chatted?
No, I was not.
Well, maybe take this opportunity
Reloader.
to thank the super chatters.
Yeah.
Be like,
thank you very much, super chatters. I was considering super chatting. I've just been busy tonight and been listening.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, thank you to the people who super chatted to unlock the giveaway. We're going to put you back in the queue and the screener's going to come on and just get your email address and we will send you that link but here shortly. If she's signed into my stuff, it might come immediately. Anyway, maybe tomorrow at the latest, check and make sure it didn't end up in your spam because it'll come from our Q&A line stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Cool.
No problem.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Chris.
Thanks.
Congrats.
Uh-huh. Yep.
All right. So that 902 call to the screener, that is the one that you're going to be. All right. From here forward, just looking for the lines are now closed for the giveaway. I think one of those callers actually hung up. So we will just take now Isaac from Louisiana. Isaac from Louisiana, you are on the line.
I agree with everything Isaac says.
We are on the line with Jimmy and Forrest. Say something crazy because he's promised to agree with everything you say.
I did not promise. I said I think I probably will.
Well, what's happening, David? I am from Southern Louisiana. I am from New Orleans.
Hey, I used to live in Slidell.
Oh, well, exactly. You walked there, not about 15, 20 minutes. So there's something I'm glad that I was the next caller. First of all, I've been watching y'all's show for just the last 2 weeks. I am an atheist. I did come from a Christian background, but I don't want to speak to that. I want to speak to the last caller. Just something that I noticed that you kept saying, Frank, is that as a black person, I am involved with a movement called American Descendants of Slavery. And what that is a political-driven movement that disaggregates, that talks about the specific lineal harm that happened to Black Americans, not just slavery, but the inherited accrued disadvantages like redlining and so forth. Now, I'm going to say that I speculate. I don't know, because this person can have this rhetoric and be Black American, but I heard a slight accent. What I would say as a Black American that I would ask you as a fellow white American ally is to consider when you have this conversation, it's not to be xenophobic, but most Black immigrants, a lot of them have the same talking points of white supremacists because they don't have the connection through the lineal harm and things like that happen. And because immigration in this country, 1965 Immigration Act, if you look at the census data, everyone else was to the right of the decimal. So people who immigrate here after that point, when you look at the mass immigration that happened in the 2090s, these Negroid genophenotype people, I don't agree with Darwinism, but it makes sense to describe people by their physical characteristic, right? These people
not
who
in those
might
terms,
come from another country. Right. These people who might come from another Black, quote unquote, country. I kind of don't like to say Black for everybody in that aspect. They can have the same rhetoric because when most people immigrate to this country, they're not coming here to be part of the losing team, which would be the American descendants of slavery or the American Negro. They're coming here to be as close to the proximity to whiteness. That's the reason why most Hispanics and Latinos identify as white as their racial group. It doesn't matter because if they're brown, it's the same thing. So I just wanted to give the nuance that person, I don't know, but you're going to hear that type of rhetoric from someone who's not an American descendant of slavery because there's not the lineal harm. What you guys know that when you go to the Caribbean, there's no such thing as a Black Dominican. You're just Dominican. In Nigeria, there's no such thing as a Black Nigerian. You're just Nigerian.
Yeah.
And just for the record, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I agree with the idea that, when you use the term Black, we are just describing skin color. We're not necessarily describing ethnicity there. And when we talk about, when we were talking to T, we were using the word Black largely interchangeably with the term African American specifically. And so, yes, of course, an immigrant is going to have a totally different outlook and experience and probably have different ideas than somebody who actually is Black in America and has grown up American and is a descendant of slaves and all these other things. Yes.
Right. So, because everything that he's saying, I can tell you, being a Black Southerner and not just living in Louisiana. I live in Atlanta. You heard me? Right now, I have heard those same talking points. I've heard them from, of course, Black conservatives. But those since we don't disaggregate that data, which we're working on that from Adolf, when you hear Black, I just want y'all to do just a little research, right? When you look at all the people of color who are non-white, pay attention to the leaders. Because what you're going to find is that most of the leaders that sit in the seats for blackness aren't Black Americans. And I know that, just controversial here, immigrants are used as a tool to white supremacists on the left. What do I mean? Well, think about it. If I program that it's just based off the skin color, I didn't do the Jamaican Haitian government is debatable to the same degree harm as I did these Black Americans. So, of course, if I bring the overcast system of people, and it's not like they're just bringing poor people in from these countries, it's a disservice when you bring someone in. Okay, if you have two parents that are doctors and a lawyer and you're Nigerian, you come from London. But what happens is when they immigrate over here, guess what? They fall under the category of Black. There is no disaggregation for that. So what it does is then you get a group of people, because we're the only ethnic group in the world where Black Americans, we vacation to everyone's country. We do not immigrate there. We do not go to any of these other peoples of color's country and sit in spaces of government. That only happens here in America. So just to give a little nuance, I just thank you so much for your time. I don't want to hold you up. I just want to give you guys that contextual political nuance that often when you hear someone that's of Negro, genophenotype, or dark skin, you're going to hear that type of rhetoric because they're not connected to the lineage. And which we do know in this country, dealing with the Irish, the Italian, right? No one said because these people are all quote unquote white or Caucasoid featured. No, you were still separated by ethnic groups. So tribalism and nationalism has always been part of this country's history. I don't know why people try to play dumb, but neither here again. I thank you guys so much for letting me give you the nuance of what I wanted. I will continue to support. And thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
Well, Isaac, before you go, I was sending that link off, and then I heard you use the phrase white supremacist leftists. I'm wondering who that is.
Well, I use that term because here's the thing now this is going to a different direction. What happens with the Democratic Party? I am not a Republican, but I'm speaking from the point of a Black American. What often happens is that
real quick, Isaac. Did you mean Democratic Party when you meant leftist? Because that probably explains exactly what I was asking. Okay, got it.
Yes,
got it. Okay.
Yeah, makes sense now.
Because most leftists are going to be in the Democratic Party. You know what I'm saying?
I got it.
So,
that was the place where I was held up because I was like, wait, leftism isn't compatible with white supremacy. So who are the white supremacist leftists? But you're saying Democrats, not leftists. I got you.
Right.
Okay.
Because actually, unfortunately, that I can tell you as part of this grassroots movement, the founders, Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, if you want to learn more about it, we have had to deal with more people on the left. Because just like when you would talk about reparation, I do appreciate you and having the respectable consideration of knowing that, yes, just like when Dr. King, before his assassination, was talking about the 1865 Homestead Act, what happened with the European peasants who came and they were able to get undergirded by the government, on land and stuff like that. That is the very thing that when everybody else is immigrating here, they get to participate in. So the reason why you see Black Americans in the position, I tell people all the time, if I had the ability of the Hispanic community if my ancestors had the ability to work these service jobs without being racially terrorized, well, Black America will look totally different. So, and then it's a number of things, and I'm just, probably going off on a tangent. I am not surprised. I don't know why people say they read exit polls. And if you've been a census enumerator in this country, which I have, I'm 40 years old, next month I'm verbal. But when I lived in San Antonio, Texas, that's where I ended up after Katrina. By the way, it's very offensive to be called a fucking refugee when you're a United States citizen. Neither here or there. But when I was a census enumerator here, in Texas, I understood that, we're close to the border of Mexico. I learned that Hispanics were white, not just an anecdotal treatment or my first experience, no, on paper. And then when people identify as Hispanic, you're basically saying you're European without saying you're European. I don't know how the fuck we learn where Spain is, but then somehow when you look at the Spanish Inquisition and their history with anti-African and Blackness, well, then how did you as a Black American think that you're going to be in automatic solidarity when they're fleeing their own country and have their own sentiments of colorism. It makes no sense.
Mm.
So it does us a disservice as just for you guys, because I know the reason why you haven't heard this type of information, even though we've been doing the grassroots work, because people in the Democratic Party who are racist do not want you, they don't really want to pay the cost. They don't want to rewrite it. Because if we treated Black Americans in the same context as we did, think about it. Hispanics, I have nothing against Hispanics, but damn, do you understand the difference of when you come and you get government and funding program, which everybody comes to America for this reason. People they talk shit, but this is the reason why this is my country. I'm very much American. Okay? Most people come here to get Uncle Daddy's money. They come here to get the benefits of the federal government. So the only difference is that for people of color, I don't mean Black Americans, there's a separation there. Yes, if we did specifications like we do for every other person of color community, but we don't. And I'm going to say this and I'm going to be quiet. It's also true. It shows that, and people are not going to like this, there were more good white people fighting for Black Americans than there were people of color. The reason why I can back that up is because, like I said, statistically, before the Immigration Act, everyone else was to the right of the decimal. So then you have to ask yourself, am I really, as a white person, only easing white guilt because I'm referring everything to skin color when I know damn well that these specific group, yes, skin color was included, but it was the only exclusionary reason. Because there are plenty of people who share my genophenotype. Hell, Hindustanis come darker than us. No one treats them with the color code.
All right, so Isaac, we're getting a touch ranty here, and we haven't been able to get back. I will say, I don't think I would sign on to the unnuanced take. I think that there's probably a nuanced version. I don't think I would sign on to the take. Most people here are for Uncle Sam's money. We know that immigrants disproportionately are happy to be laborers. We know that they disproportionately create new small businesses, and that they actually then employ citizens, and often enough white citizens. But what I mean by that is the government. But what I mean is about that Uncle Sam's money. They function under the United States government. It isn't just the programs. Because yes, they do come and build businesses. But and to your point, I'm sorry I cut you off. Those people of color, what you're not going to see is Black Americans. You're not going to see Haitians employ Black Americans. You're not going to see Dominicans employ Black Americans. So that's what I'm saying. There is not the same reciprocity. I don't have a reason as a Black American to want to immigrate to other people's countries, nor do they have the infrastructure for me to come and set up shop and get a job and etc. So just to give a more nuance to that, but go ahead. Yeah, sure. I mean, what you're describing are things that I would want data on. I'm trying to figure out right now. You didn't drop a slur for trans people a moment ago, did you?
No.
Okay. I'm confused by what somebody was saying in the chat. It might have been misheard. But yeah. All right, Isaac.
Anything about trans people.
I was going to say, I didn't hear it either, but somebody in the chat was saying, thought I had missed it or something, and so they may have misheard. Yeah, no worries. All right, well, appreciate the call, Isaac. I'll definitely be looking up some data regarding what you did, because I admit, while a lot of the things you said I'm on board with, I definitely would want to see data that suggests that.
Look up the ADOS Advocacy Foundation. Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell have YouTube channels. Yeah, man, we've been doing the work, and we have it backed by data and books and charts. Cool. So everything I'm talking, I'm not just telling you how I feel. It's backed by data. So I do appreciate you guys. Thanks, did get on a little rant there. Thank you for letting me have my time and to put that nuance. And I definitely will continue to support you.
Great, thank you.
Take care, Isaac.
And it looks like, man, we are efficient here. Chris was able to get their link and has already ordered their shirt. So, heck yeah, Chris, congrats again on the Chewed Gum shirt. we can reopen lines if you've got time, but I know you have homework, so.
I could do one more.
All right, if you are a caller who supports MAGA and you'd like to debate, we're opening the lines for you right now. 33654-32101. That is 33654-32101. And call in now. We will give it a minute or two before we decide to give it call it a day. I'll tell you what, while we wait, we'll wait 5 minutes. And if in that 5 minutes, another 10 super chats, I'm going to make it real tight here though, people. Start another goal. I'm giving,
right.
It doesn't allow me to do less than 15. All right. I guess I have to do, if I want it to be on there, 15 minutes of $10 or more, but really I mean 5, but I'll give away another shirt. And it'll probably be, we'll do a Zerba. The next one will be a Zerba since they were kind of close. They were kind of close, but we need 10 $10 ones if y'all want that before that goal is up. And the lines are open right now. If you would like to call in, 33654-32101. If you are MAGA, Christian, creationist, if you have something that you believe you could bring to the table that we can debate y'all about, we will take on you, but I won't take you home. It's not just 54321 Sarah Talks Podcast in the chat. It is 654-32101. Hey, I have a canker sore, like it's on the lip almost. It's like
awful,
just leaking over. Yeah. For those people who don't know, canker sores are the same things as ulcers in your stomach, but they're in your mouth. Now, obviously, the ones in your stomach hurt much more because they're getting hit by acid.
But you also can't like tongue them. You know what I mean? I don't know.
And all you want to do the whole time is tongue them. I'm like poking it like crazy, and I can eat so little food, and the only seasoning I can really have is salt. And guess what is really awful on a canker sore? Salt.
I imagine so. Yeah.
Real bad. Again, we're only keeping the lines open, extending the show a little bit longer. So if you want to call in and debate whether or not Christian nationalism and MAGA are good for the country, or you believe that science points to the earth being young, you can call in right now, 654-32101. 654-3, I wish I could have, or 33654-32101 without the 33. No good. Oh. I'm sorry about that, Smudge. Yeah, I haven't really talked about my poops much today, but there's not much to report, honestly. It's been a pretty normal day, which in and of itself is strange, to tell you the truth. You're surprised the number 666 isn't in the phone number somewhere. No, but I will say I'm not going to share it because I use it for work stuff and with friends and stuff, but my personal Zoom meeting code, it has some pretty great atheist numbers in it. It's very easy to remember because of it. Yeah, we'd take on a flat earther.
I would take a flat earther.
I said Jimmy's Tism likes the 543-210. Again, 654-3210. No,
I would talk to a flat earther. I would talk to a creationist. I would talk to a transphobe. I would talk to an anti-vaxxer. I would talk to all sorts of people.
I'm very surprised at how often this misconception is there. While if I had oral herpes, I would just tell you, because I think the stigma around it is crazy. Canker sores and cold sores are not the same thing. Cold sores are caused by a virus. Canker sores are not caused by viruses. Yeah. The exact reason why they happen in people is actually unknown, but they tend to be connected to stress, as well as some people can have certain, like I know a person who basically will always get a canker sore if they eat a tomato product. And even myself, if I get a cut and then I eat something with like uric acid in it, it almost always turns into a canker sore.
The man just loves drinking piss every time he gets a cut.
Is uric acid piss? What's in tomatoes? Is it uric acid?
I think that's a different one. Let me double check.
I might be wrong. Which acid is in tomatoes?
Citric acid and malic acid.
It probably is citric acid. What is uric acid? uric acid is what makes up kidney stones, right? Yeah. Also a thing I got to enjoy last year. Man. Okay, as we wait to see if anybody wants to take in that last line challenge. By the way, y'all are not winning a shirt. You guys are going to need to like flood it here soon. Because we only have one of those, but we will give away another shirt and open up the lines, and it might be you.
Don't do it.
Do it.
Don't get a shirt.
You do understand that right now, because these are new, we don't make as much ad revenue also because they're in the shorts thing. So this is all about promoting super chats. So you and I got actually like paid to be here, as well as the producer and the screener and all that.
I'm just here for profit share points. That's all I want.
You only want the points. Now you also understand that like it also kind of promotes the merch and your profit share that the points are based on, also influenced by merch sales.
I don't want the profit. I want
you just want the points. You already got the points.
Yes.
You already got the points for being here. All right. Thank you, RKO Top Rocks. We'll also read out the next ones if we're not actively on a call. It seems like we're not going to. Anyway, canker sores are the same as canker sores come from canker. I actually don't even know what canker is, but a canker sore is a type of ulcer, but it's in your mouth. What is canker?
Yeah, ulcers. You get fucking, there's lots of different kinds of ulcers. Gastric ulcers are what people usually think of, and those are caused by Helicobacter pylori. Yes, I think it's a bacterial infection, as opposed to like cutaneous
H. pylori doesn't. I don't think H. pylori causes ulcers.
That causes ulcers in your stomach. Yep.
I think it can be a side effect of H. pylori, but I don't think if you have an ulcer, you necessarily have H. pylori. Because I get tested for H. pylori all the time, and I've had ulcers without it for sure.
I think that's like there is a type. Either there is a type of ulcer that is associated with it, or they are one of the causes of ulcers in your stomach.
I think that's correct, but I think you can even get ulcers just from stressing like if you have a syndrome that causes you to throw up a lot. So yes, it is a major cause of peptic ulcers having an H. pylori infection. Now, here's something else I'd love to know.
They're not just associated; they are a cause. Is what I'm saying. Like,
NSAIDs are actually the second most likely cause.
They'll burn a hole in your stomach real good. Yeah, yeah,
and turn into an ulcer. What percentage of H. pylori infections result in no ulcers? Because that's another interesting thing. If you have H. pylori, are you guaranteed? Let's see. Only 10 to 15% of those who carry of those infected ever develop peptic ulcers. And a much smaller percentage may go on to develop stomach cancer over their lifetime.
Yeah.
Why did you say that? No one says the H. I almost didn't recognize what you were talking about when you said the whole word. Everybody in the GI world, doctors and people who have to get tested for this stuff, say H. pylori. What was the full word? Hamburger helper pylori?
Helicobacter, I believe.
Okay.
Helicobacter. That's the whole genus name. H is just a shorthand. So like if you're giving a species name, like you could say Homo sapiens, you can just say H. sapiens. So you just put you abbreviate the genus name if you want, and that's what they're doing there. Like E. coli, the E in E. coli stands for like Escherichia or some weird fucking word I don't remember off the top of my head, but like that's the whole genus name is the whole thing, and you just shorthand it to E.
Dan says the rest of you better hit the goal. I don't want to be giving my money to Jimmy for no reason. If it makes you feel better, I'll make sure that your super chat goes to Forrest and the producer only. I kind of already do that. I don't. For the most part, like some things throw offset a little bit, but even though I participate as the owner of the company, I don't really participate in the profit share myself.
It is motherfucking Escherichia coli. I got it right out of the top of my dome.
Lowe says canker sounds like cancer of the cankles. I'll see myself out. Well, I hope Donald Trump doesn't get canker. Kind of looks like he might have canker right now. You hear him talking about hoping that he's going to get into heaven stuff recently, and people being like, is he trying to signal to us that it's the end? Is this
We can only
nightmare
dream.
almost over?
The dude who ran fucking, what was it, Focus on Family just died.
Mhm. Yeah,
And I fuck that guy.
There's a reason why you haven't seen me from the waist down this whole show.
This desk is holding itself up by its legs. It's not. There was a fucking, it's a meme I've seen 1,000 times. But that guy died, and then it's like this picture of the Grim Reaper playing a claw game, and that guy's in the claw. It's like, is Donald Trump even in this thing? It's so good,
man. The way that guy can just get, how is he able to be that unhealthy?
The most evil people in the world. I swear to God, their hate sustains it. It rots them from the inside and preserves them like fucking vinegar. It's bizarre.
Hey, Chris just paid it forward. Chris, I feel a little bad. Now it feels like you only like halfway won your prize. But, thank you. Chris just paying it forward, putting a $10 super chat in there. Says making up for it. Fuzzy Lodge says, I would like to work for the line. How do we make this happen? It's unlikely. Let me put it that way. There's a long line of people who would like to work for the line.
I don't send your resume to I don't know, I was going to read off your phone number, but then I read contact@qnaline.com. Send your resume there. And if you don't get a response, send it again. Send it every day, 3 times a day. Just keep sending it. Also, I don't accept the Fuzzy Logic's super chat as going towards a shirt because it's in Monarchy bucks. And those aren't real. It shouldn't count.
Monarchy bucks is nice. Michael says, I like this format, but Jimmy is hidden behind the chat. You do know, I'm not even joking. In figuring out how this stuff goes, I went and screenshotted a bunch of live streams and I figured out how things would be. And I was like, all right, I probably would have naturally put myself on top and the guest on bottom. If you think that feels like what would transition to left to right the most. And usually we put the host on the left. But it is because the live chat covers whoever's on bottom that I put myself there. And not just because I'm ugly, but I thought it would actually be a kindness to the guest to make sure that they are more visible. People know what I look like. And I'd like to feature my friends who are here and maybe you haven't seen as much. And Forrest. Sorry, I thought you might want out of the category of my friends.
Yeah.
I thought you would get it at first. By the way, cankers. I
wasn't paying attention.
Not fully understood, but triggers can include stress, minor mouth injuries, certain foods, citrus, tomatoes, spicy items. I looked this up since. I didn't even know that's apparently common. Vitamin deficiencies, which I certainly have. Hormonal changes, which I definitely have, or immune system issues. Okay, you want to hear a weird poop fact? I think that the changes in my body, because I went from years of chronic diarrhea 12 times a day, I mean, really bad. That's why I got so sick and was gone for so long, to now changing, having it bulked up by a resin. I think it actually affects my libido at times. I think sometimes the bulk up puts pressure down in my system in general and puts light pressure, I think, on my prostate. And will cause me to be spontaneously horny.
So you're talking about poopgasms up in here.
No, it never makes me poop. I think sometimes, when I'm at the beginning of my colon populating, I get horny.
We're at the point of the show where we are so bereft of what's the word I'm looking for here?
Guys, 2 more minutes to get 4 more of these in so we can do another giveaway. Please, 4 more $10. Let's not miss this one. Let's get that last giveaway done. Go ahead.
We have so few callers on this fucking show.
4 hours
Jimmy
later,
talking about how he can have enough poop in his rectum that it puts pressure on his prostate and turns him on.
Yeah,
and that's where the show is. And I think we should call it. I think that's a good ending.
Wait, there's somebody screening.
That's where
we might have. Let's find out. Let's find out if this one's going to be good first. But people, we do need the screener. We'll check that out. We've got a minute and a half to get 3 more. Thank you, Vern, and 1 more. Come on. Thank you, Vern. I think you've now paid for your shirt in super chats. That's nice, though.
I've got 4 hours of lectures, and I've got some homework to get done. I'm a PhD student. I'm just got. Can we?
Arcade Top Rock says $10 to stop talking about poopgasm. Sold.
Well, now I want to talk about it more.
Luthen, can you screen that call? Oh, they are. They are. Okay. What do we have?
Yes.
1 minute left for how many? Less than. We've got 50-ish seconds for 2 more of these bad boys. 2 more. Let's see. Jimmy isn't ugly, but his handsomeness is compounded by hours in the chat for double handsome. I don't think I understand that sentence. It's words in a row.
Like they cancel out. Maybe. Is that what it is?
Yeah. I'm not sure. 30 seconds, people. Come on. We just need 2 more of these $10 deals. I'm going to give away the shirt. I'm going to give it away. You looking forward to the comments of people who are going to try and be like, wow, 2 white guys explaining black issues to a black caller.
Yeah, I know, like you even mentioned it, like I know the optics suck and I'm not getting away from that. And I recognize that entirely. But at the end of the day, regardless of who is calling in, if you're spreading fucking racist talking points, we're going to talk about why that sucks. And especially coming from somebody like T.
Sorry, that was so close.
T's going to come in here and say, I'm black, therefore I understand why black people should be oppressed in these ways. I know it's a summary of it's a straw man, but like that it hurts my heart to hear. And so I want to be very careful. And it's a no-win situation on the internet. But like, I want to be careful not to be the white guy telling a black person how to talk about black people. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm not going to let anybody say racist shit. And so
I wish Javon was here because I feel like I can say more racist adjacent stuff. Not actually racist, but racial jokes when he's here. I feel weird saying it without him, which is racist in and of itself a little bit. I need the black guy here to approve. But I was going to say what I would have said if he was here is like, but if you wanted to apply to be a black person to say my words for me, to give me a shield, send your resume to Reverend Nate said just came in. What's this deal for giveaways? And Agent 87 says PT dubs here for poopgasms and dunkings on bigots. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and do one.
Durante. Hey, can you please tell T he's fucking stupid so I don't get canceled, please?
Can you repeat my points? but
just read this aloud.
From now on Discord, I'll just be when you're on. Just my goodness. Unfortunately, I know people who like are excited to use anything they can as a shield, and I would not put. I'm thinking of one person in specific who kind of created a way that they like. Oh, don't I technically count as queer by doing some absolute loop-de-loops? And the thing was that they were clearly building it as a shield they could use, and they're not. They're not queer, for the record. But
I know who you're talking about. Yes, it sucks. Yeah,
but they're but if I say it this way,
then if anyone's mean to me, I can be like, you're being mean to the queer person, and then I can be like, yeah, I get it. Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. That sucks.
Yeah. Thank you, Jessica, who says 10 more pounds to hear more poopgasms. I actually don't have more than that. I've never had one that was like, oh, here I go, ooh, and I just have like a thing. All right, let's do quick.
He's not saying the poop gets him off. He's saying the poop helps.
That's right.
That's all.
We're going to take this call and we will do the giveaway right after. I don't think this caller probably is going to be saying they disagree with the premise of something. But I think we probably are on board for most of the same thing, but we'll find out. Rich in Hawaii. It looks like, first of all, Rich, are you driving?
I am not. I was when the call screener picked up the call, but I have since reached my destination.
Excellent. Okay. So you are now parked, correct?
Correct.
All right. Good enough. And so you believe that the statement is wrong that MAGA and Christian nationalism are, I can't even remember what it is anymore, are destroying us.
Yeah. So first of all, total dream to talk to you guys. Super cool. Gosh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So I would say we're probably on a similar page in that I would say that Christianity and MAGA are like just sort of the tools and like the face of the propaganda for like the destruction and wholesale disassembly, I guess, as lack of a better word, to describe what's currently happening in the country. Like I don't know if you guys are familiar with like Mitt Romney and how he and his company destroyed Toys R Us, and that basically bought it and made it like take out a bunch of loans against itself and made it eat itself and sell itself off so Bain Capital could make all the money selling it for parts. It's kind of what MAGA and Christianity are doing to, like, I guess, invigor the foot soldiers of the current fascistic nonsense that's happening right now. But I would say that that's just like defeating the putties when we still have like Goldar and Rita to fight, you know? So like, it very much seems like an international, like, not really a cohort of profoundly rich people and evil motherfuckers like Rod Rails and whatnot are just basically using, hey, we can sell off the United States and tell everybody to.
Rich, I think this is a level of.
Do it.
I think this is a level of pedantry that even my autistic ass can't appreciate, because it kind of sounds like you're saying the Nazis aren't the Nazis are just the ones doing it. Hitler and his buddies and Goebbels and all those are the guys and the people behind the scenes that are all benefiting it. That's the bigger problem. But of course, like, we recognize that Christian nationalism and MAGA, they still have to have a system in place of leadership and frankly, in this case, cult leadership. But I don't feel like you're saying anything that actually describes it as wrong. I think it's more of just like kind of like a how come in under 40 characters so it would fit on the screen did you not include Roger Ailes and Peter Thiel and all of that stuff, which obviously does come on in our calls. And Rich, I think you're driving again and pretending you're not.
Oh, sorry. I'm completely parked and not moving.
But you were, weren't you?
For like a second, yeah, I completely forgot. I'm sorry, guys. Totally bad. My mistake.
All right,
I understand what you're saying about the pedantry of it, and
myopicness.
While I think it's it's probably a valid criticism. It just really seems more like missing the target, rather like. You're looking at what the target wants you to look at as opposed to like the target itself.
So you think two leftists? Hang on. You think the two leftists here who also spend a good period of time talking about disabling capitalism, taking down the systems of oligarchy? You think that because of the title that we're missing the goal, or you think that it wasn't adequately presented in just this episode, or what is the?
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I watch you guys a lot. You guys are 99%. I agree with.
Give me the 1%. That sounds way more interesting. Let's go there. What's the 1%?
Oh yeah. So how, Jimmy? You call yourself a queer, but that's the 1% we don't agree on, in that you have the line, you've got the hang up, you've got all these puns, right? And yet you don't call the people who like pick up the phone, like the call screeners, operators. Like, it just feels like it's right there.
I don't call the screeners really operators?
Yeah. It just feels like the pun's right there.
All right.
No, sorry. But if you're talking about the 1% that, like, the actual factual that we don't agree with, I guess more so it would be like the method by which, I guess, would be to fight MAGA. And I think you guys are doing a pretty good job showing them, lampooning them in front of, like, the world, and hopefully, like, it changes some minds. And I kind of see that it does, largely.
Do you agree that that's important for somebody to do?
Profoundly, yes.
Okay, so then I don't
extremely value the thing that you're doing.
Then I wonder if we do disagree, because I don't think we're saying we're the way everybody should do it, that we're the part everyone should be doing.
Oh yeah, no, like, you don't fight a war, with, like, you don't play chess with one kind of character, right? You have a bunch of different. You got a bunch of different guys on the board. They all do different things. Very effective. Capture the king, not a chess player, of the other person. Very good.
Rich, I'm worried that we're heading toward the only thing we disagree on is that you like me and I can't stand me. So we're having a hard time getting to a disagreement, but that's okay. I appreciate it, but
yeah. I guess what I'm saying is, like, the real disagreement I have is not necessarily. It's I guess, like, really only framing the. I guess maybe it might be better in Curry, but just framing the fact that Christianity and MAGA are the specific things destroying America, and not like, and yes, it probably is just a specific episode because you guys do a whole lot of like tearing down of like capitalism and all that stuff, right? And how those things are bad. I've got a specific issue with calling specifically, I guess, MAGA and I guess giving them credence really for let them destroying America when really it's just a theme, right? It's just a theme of how it's destroying America when the crux of it is allowing like, you know, like you said, the Peter Thiels and all that of the world in, and just sort of like letting people know that, hey, Donald Trump is your enemy in this particular form or this particular episode, whatever. When really it's like this huge, massive cohort of these evil fucking lizard people, right? And
Rich,
I don't mean to draw into anti-Semitism or shut up. It's not even fair to lizards, really, to be like that. But lizards are great people. But these people aren't. But just to say that specifically the ideals of Christianity are destroying it, rather like Christian nationalism, it is, but it seems really downstream of the actual like thing really destroying America, and that is like
cool, Rich.
Like
Rich.
on the ground of like people.
Let's just kill it there because I think we're just getting back into being incredibly myopic. The Nazis are marching. We're going to fight the Nazis, and later we'll try and systemically address that this all comes down to easily emasculated dry wieners, right? Because that's if you really want to narrow it down.
The dry wiener thing, Jimmy.
That's it. What's that?
They do have incredibly dry wieners.
And they're easily emasculated. All right, Rich.
That's entirely true.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for the time. I appreciate you two guys. Forrest, bye. You're great. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Forrest actually doesn't mind a compliment. It's weird.
I deflect them. I accept them, but I deflect them. I don't internalize them. But I understand that it means something to people to say them, and that's important for them, and so I let them do it.
Pick a random number between 1 and 10. Here we go.
3.
Oh, I got 1. Went away when I scrolled a little, but I got 1. So I'm going to open 5 lines. I guess, man, I don't know. Okay, wait. Here's what we're going to do. As soon as the clock hits 8:47, 47 after the hour on the minute, I am going to hit resume lines, and I'm going to open up. I guess, why do I need to open up more than the one? I'm going to open 1 line. I'm going to open 1 line, and the first person to get on that line is going to win. What'd you say?
I was just saying first come, first serve. I'm going to put a link in the chat.
Okay. Let's see. All calls to call in queue. I'm going to turn off the auto screener. That probably made a lot of people really hopeful when they were like, oh, I got the thank you calling the line in a few words or whatever.
While you're waiting for the line to open, everyone, here's that, and you're welcome.
Oh, and sorry to the person with the 801 number. You called in too early. I'm doing it right as the clock hits 8:47 on the dot is when I'm going to hit the resume calls. You did call too early. Sorry about that. The first one in, and I would have loved to give it to an 801 as that is Utah, I think, right? And I love them Utah numbers. All right, we're getting close. We got about 20 seconds on my end, but you should be looking at your own clock. 47 on the dot. Forrest, what did you say you were doing?
I put a link to an album in the chat. It's Voyager by Moonchild, and it's just a fantastic album, and 3, it's my writing music.
2.
It's just
1. Boom. It might not have let you. Okay, I've opened the 1 line, and we've already got the caller. Wow, a lot of people tried. But the caller from the 616 area code, who am I talking to?
Michael.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Just peachy. You have won a Zerba shirt. Have you seen the Zerba shirts? Do you know which one you'd most like?
I know. I already got the first edition one from last Saturday.
Oh, yeah. You got the special one? So you basically got Zerba in black, Zerba in white, or gay Zerba, or trans Zerba to choose from.
Zerba in white.
Hell yeah, cool. I will make the giveaway link. I'm going to throw you back in the queue, and but if you want to say hi to everybody or whatever, I'm going to throw you back in the queue. The screener will get your email address and info, and then we will send you that link. I was able to send the last one really quick. So, yeah. You want to say anything to the people?
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for donating.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Michael. Returning to the queue. Don't hang up.
Thank you.
All right. Forrest, tell people what you got going on and you're working on while I make this link.
I am trying to post a link and it's not letting me.
Will you post other words real quick and I'll make you a mod so then you can post anything you want?
I should already be a mod. I'm typing I should already be a mod.
Okay.
Because I'm on your channel.
Yes, I was going to say, answer this honestly. When have you ever been on this channel before today in this live chat?
Yeah.
I don't even see you popping up in my live chat when you say I should already be a mod. Did somebody ban Forrest because they thought, oh, wait, there, now you
I'm now in there.
Now yes. You did, yeah. I thought somebody might have banned you because they thought you were impersonating Forrest. All right, add as a mod.
That would be very funny.
That would be fucking hilarious. Did they say Zerba in white or black? White, Zerba in white.
There we go. I got my check mark or my wrench and all the things. Now there's the link. That's Voyager by Moonchild. The album is called Voyager. And that is some of my favorite writing music as of late. It is damn good, and it'll get you in a vibe to get some good shit out. You do really good science. It's either that or like 2000s punk and alternative is what I usually go with. But like, it's good. It's good stuff. It's a good vibe. It's a good album. Enjoy.
What do
I've been jamming out to it.
What do I post as the title of the call with T? Because I'm like, again, the optics are bad. I don't think I want to make the optics worse, but also I want to be descriptive. So I'm like, how mad, how annoyed, or like how much shit am I going to take if I make it something like Black MAGA calls to defend white supremacy? You know what I mean?
I think that definitely leans into it. It makes it worse. Yeah,
Black MAGA defends white supremacist talking points. Keep in mind, by the time they get there, he's already said some shit about the Jews. So we might have earned some good favor back by then.
He has, and it's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's no good way for any part of that to exist. So it's we live on the internet. It's a bad place.
It's a bad place. Bad. Oh, I'm on the wrong email account. Who's got ideas in chat? In chat, how would you very tactfully, and I'm more interested if you're a person of color yourself, especially if you're black. What would you try to very neutral titles don't work? You say give a neutral title. I want people to watch it, right? You gotta go a little clickbaity.
Extremely awkward conversation between two exceedingly white bros and one white supremacist talking MAGA and also who happens to be black person.
We've run out of characters.
That's great. It fits perfectly.
An
unfortunate call. That's perfect, Puggles. Yes, an unfortunate call.
Yeah. I'm going to title it, Thank Goodness the Whites Were Here. No, I'm not going to do that. That's that can't be the right. That can't be the right.
It is funny. It's the exact same joke as like every time I get an abortion call, I'm like, at least there were no women on the call. At least it was just three dudes talking about this.
Right. Yeah. Look at these honkies. Actually, these honkies surprisingly add value to society. You won't believe what happens next. How does this Black MAGA feel about the Jews and other black people? The answer will make you cry. It's weird how the TV knows sometimes that I'm wrapping up.
Eliashana Silverbow also had two white men explain racism to black men.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a perfect title.
Yeah,
I tell you, when I was in grad school once, I was doing this. I had to give a lecture on feminist archaeological theory, and that was my assignment for the class. I was the only one. We all had to pick a different part of archaeology to give the lecture on. I was assigned this, and everyone in the class is a woman, including my teacher. So the professor and all the other students, all female. I am the only man in the class, and I have to give this lecture on feminism. And so I started the lecture by, today, a man is going to explain feminism to 5 women in a momentous occasion for archaeology as a whole.
It's what feminism's been waiting for. Fuzzy Logic says, OG Forrest, I'm
Consensual.
sorry His Majesty's Great British Pound Sterling offended you. So here are some good old-fashioned American greenbacks that totally don't have In God We Trust on them.
Thanks for them freedom dollars.
Hang on, let me text Javon. Hey, we just had a black MAGA caller that we had to explain white supremacy to. Even though you're not a part of the call, do you mind if I just make your picture the thumbnail? That won't be racist, right? That'd be Javon can't do this Sunday. He'll be back next Sunday with me, and I'm like, him and I already have such like a rapport for those shows that I'm kind of sad he can't do it this Sunday.
Right.
Yes, we white-splained racism. It's things like that where, but look, if somebody calls in, if Blair White calls in, I'm gonna lecture her on transphobia. If Candace Owens calls in, I'll lecture her on white supremacy and abortion issues and whether things are fake and gay, because that's her thing now. She likes to call things fake and gay.
Mm-hmm.
She likes to call everything fake and gay. I don't know. Like, what do you do here? What do you do here? I'm going to explain anti-Semitism to Stephen Miller, right?
Yeah.
Right. Which he hasn't, I don't know for a fact that he's anti-Semitic, but he's a Nazi in every other way.
I would be genuinely shocked if he was not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like actually seriously shocked. It's bizarre. And no, that is the damn old misery. I was like, do you let someone say racist shit, or do you get accused? Are you risk being called racist for telling someone not to say racist shit?
Yeah.
Welcome to working on YouTube.
What was this one? Oh, no. Did I already read? OG Forrest, I'm sorry. His Majesty's Great British Pound Sterling offended you. So
you did.
Yeah, I did.
I
apologize. That's weird that you can just switch like that, Fuzzy Logic. That's cool, though. That's cool. Who are our top fans this episode? Thank you to Luthien, who was doing all kinds of production in the background, not behind the back. Anyway, I was trying to determine if I wanted to make a sexual joke, and then people would be like, well, that's a hostile work environment, because they don't know that I'm Luthien as my partner. Anyway, the Fuzzy Logic, D. Monzel, and Archaeopterox. Why didn't I mention she's the beneficiary of that poop prostate thing? Anyway, y'all are our top fans this episode. Josh Everett, you were close.
Is a word for it.
You got to take. What did you call it?
I said beneficiary is a fun word for that.
You know what's so funny is the other day I was trying to come up with a term for autistic supremacist. I was joking that I'm an autistic supremacist. I think we're better than the rest of you. Mm-hmm. And somebody in the comments was like, suprematist was right there. And I was like, God damn it. It is. Yeah. I'm suprematist. Forrest, it was great. I enjoyed our time together. I hope you did too.
It sounds like you're supremely autistic. Like the most possible. Like that's
also correct. I am not on the spectrum. I am the spectrum.
The spectrum. What was it fucking you said to me one time that I have the weirdest thought? Was it like I don't remember.
I know a caller called into Javon's stream yesterday, and I was guesting over there, and the caller was talking about how she preferred Javon's other format, and I was like, "Am I gonna do it? Am I gonna risk sounding ableist right now?" And you could probably, if you go back, you could probably see me thinking, "Am I gonna take the risk of ableism?" And anyway, she's talking about all the colors she preferred and like that there were more color pops, and that even though it was busier, it was more colorful. And I just cut in and was like, "Hey, when were you diagnosed with ADHD?" And I took the risk, and she laughed and went, 2022.
Yeah.
Here we go. Anyway, thanks people for watching. It was fun. I had a tremendously fun time, even though Forrest seems over it. But I had a great time with you, sir, and I always do.
I'm just exhausted. I also had fun, and I also enjoy hosting with you, and I also enjoy doing these shows. Thanks for having me. It was a blast.
We did 2 over 1 hour calls. Did you see that?
We did. It was a lot.
And Forrest will tell you, if he had done that with anybody else, I would have called after and been like, "Hey, can we try and not hit an hour on calls?" Like,
he would. He's an asshole that way.
That's
like
right.
I loved every second of it, and like I'll do it again sometime probably. I was
Oh, yeah.
promised like truly fucking wackadoodle calls. Like that's what the whole point of doing these, the vertical streams, is that you get some really crazy folks, and that was what I was looking forward to. But
Wait, you debated debated a fascist.
We debated a
For
fascist,
an
but he was
hour.
like lame about it. He was lame about it. He was real lame about it.
He gave the quote, which was me changing his name into the definition of fascism, a C-.
What was boring about it is that like the entire call boiled down to I don't agree with any definitions I don't like. That was the call, and like I don't know.
It was pedantic, but it did be fascist though. But I admit we didn't quite have that first show so far has been a little special, but yeah, there'll be more. There'll be more. Thank you everybody, and thank you for super chatting. Despite what he says, it probably will help him come back later because we do.
Do we have an outro?
No. Do you want to do it?
Do you want to make one?
Do you got one in mind?
I don't. I was asking because we started so abruptly, and then you sang a little song. So I'm wondering if you want to sing a little song for the outro as well.
Hey, this was Forrest and Jimmy, and they took calls, and a fascist called in, and then another guy called in, and he was a white supremacist, but it's kind of hard to say because he wasn't actually white. And so how do we title that clip when it goes out? I guess Jimmy just takes the risk of being a bad guy. Forrest, thanks.
That's